Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday night live stream of the 2025 Lake George Tournament presented by Let's Play Scrabble, coming at you from, well, we're not coming at you from Lake George, New York, but the players are playing in Lake George, New York. My name is Charles Ranke. I'll be doing commentary for you for these first three games, and I'm joined by none other than Annette Oberstad.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I do wish I was there playing, but this is like, the second best. So happy to watch some good games and have a good time here with you guys.
Yeah, I have never played the Lake George tournament. I kind of wish I was there. It's a really good field in both WoW and Collins. We'll be doing the WoW dictionary, the North American lexicon, for these first three games. Never fear, Collins fans. There's going to be some Collins games for you in the next day or two. These first three we'll be doing WoW. And our first matchup, it should be a banger. It's between Robin Pollock-Daniel and Mike Thelen.
Two players which I've both played before, and they both beat me. So I'm excited to see how this game is going to turn out. I think it's going to be a banger. Hopefully. It'd be nice if we could start off with a game that just wasn't a blowout. I have a bad record when it comes to streaming sometimes, that like every game just turns out to be a little bit of a, one-sided game. So hopefully that streak is going to end today.
Yeah, there might be some kind of a net curse when it comes to lopsided games on stream. I think the Charles curse might counteract the net curse. We hope that's the case. Anyway, we've got Robin and Mike. Robin really doesn't need too much of an introduction. She's been one of the best women players for basically the last 25 years. She's been a top expert for a long time. We see her rating card there. She's dropped a little bit in rating a bit recently. She's historically been a 1900 or 2000 level player for a very long time.
That is an extremely high win percentage, though. You were probably just about to point that out, but 58.4%. That is a lot higher than a lot of top players.
Yep, she has racked up a lot of wins against a lot of players. You see that career total of games is immense. That is a lot of games played. But we do see her most recent tournament win at a big tournament was a little bit ago, over a decade ago, going 18-3 in Albany. So she's definitely looking to get a long-awaited tournament win. Maybe she can do it here in Lake George.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, and I would love to see it.
And then we've got Mike Thelen. Most people will know him as the creator of the study program Ziziva. I don't know what you use in that, but I personally have been a heavy Ziziva user for the better part of 2 decades now, and I can basically thank Mike, and I have done so personally, for basically allowing me to study words at the efficiency that I do. So
yeah, I've definitely used it as well, and it's something that I recommend to a lot of players when they're just starting out. It's a great tool to just help you get started and get those like high probability bingos down that we all need to know.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a matchup preview next. These two players may not have played too many times. In fact, they have never played. We are seeing the first ever Thelen versus Pollock-Daniel. It does feel very momentous. Everybody around the world should be tuning in for this one.
This could be an epic matchup.
So I think players are getting situated. We're going to start shortly. While we wait for them to get situated, Annette, do you have any feelings about this matchup? Any favorites? Maybe just who you want to win?
I mean, I gotta say, I'm probably biased towards watching females do good because I'm a female myself, and there aren't that many of us. So I guess I would root for Robin, but I mean, Michael is such a nice guy that it's really hard to pick a side here.
Yep, and Robin is the higher rated player of the two. She has beaten a lot of experts in her time. She has been a top expert herself for a very long time. So might be a little bit of a challenge for Mike, but we know he's up to it. He's been improving steadily over the past couple years as he's made a return to more full-time Scrabble. So I think players are ready to go. We can cut over to them and get this game underway.
Yeah, it looks like they're ready. They're getting the thumbs up to start, and it looks like Michael is going first.
Looks like some friendly words exchanged, so perhaps these players haven't had enough games between them yet to develop a rivalry. They're just good-natured at this point. We'll see if a rivalry develops one way or the other. Ooh, so Mike drawing some pretty good tiles for his first draw. This does look very close to a bingo rack. It
It
feels
does. I
like,
would definitely take a few seconds just to make sure that I'm not missing a bingo here. I mean, I'm not immediately seeing anything. I feel like there's a lot of things he could do here. I mean, Focal looks pretty good to me as like a first choice. Maybe something like Force if you don't want to, slot a vowel next to a double letter square. What are you seeing here?
yeah, I would go for force here.
Maybe like
Just
Flora
to,
would be okay too.
yeah, that's another. I think definitely you want to be doubling the F on this turn, maximizing your points with that. We do see Mike setting up force, which I think is a little bit better than focal. One downside of focal is it does take some 3-letter front extensions. I can't
That's true.
enumerate all of them at the moment, but certainly stuff like trifocal would be a concern. So something like force maybe feels a little bit safer for multiple reasons, and we see him going for it.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty standard opening play. A lot of vowels looking over at Robin's rack here. She does have the Z though, so she should be able to score okay. Maybe something like Razi down from the R.
Yeah, she actually does have a few options here. She could do Razi, she could do Azir through the R. She also could go through the F with something like Fusey.
Right.
All of these will unfortunately keep 3 vowels, but when you've got 6 vowels on your rack and you're actually going to make a play with your letters, keeping 3 vowels is almost unavoidable. And if she can keep something like AEU, just has to hope that the bag does something for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally I would probably choose Azure over any of these just because everybody who knows me knows how much I hate the U, so I would be trying to get that off my rack. But I guess keeping double ace isn't terrible either.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit close between Fusey and Azure. I might, again, go for Azure just to keep maybe keep that top of the board a little bit open. But I think kind of splitting hairs there a little bit. Fusey is a very nice play.
Yeah. It's a good rack for Michael here. He's definitely going to be able to get a bingo down. He's got 2 options, well, 3 options, I guess, depending on the placements, but Legator and Gloater in a couple of different spots. Highest scoring one would be, I guess, Legator and Gloater both with Forcer, depending on which position you're more comfortable with.
Yeah, I think this is a high probability enough rack where it looks like it would form 8s with some of the letters on the board, like especially if you could get an 8 in the double-double line starting with an E, that would be great. Do have to do a little bit of due diligence here to make sure you're not missing anything, but we would expect Mike to find either Gloater or Legator. And then it just sort of comes down to being aware of the hook turning force into Forcer, which I think is straightforward enough where I'd expect to see it come down.
Yeah, I think so too. So it looks like he's going with Gloater. I think personally I probably would have chosen Legator just to prevent overlaps there on the left. Makes it a little bit harder. I mean, this is also tough, but now you do give back some plays through that O.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. There is sort of an outside chance of plays to the triple with that double letter score next to the O. Hard-hitting consonants like the M or the H could go there. Maybe not the H, but certainly there's a few things that can hurt you there, whereas Legator a little bit safer in terms of vowel placement. But again, kind of a small difference there. We see going back over to Robin, we remember she kept 3 vowels here. She did draw 2 more vowels, but thankfully did draw 2 consonants, including the X, which goes right very nicely in the spot she created with Fusey. So I would expect a simple play like Axe to be played pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just too many points to really worry about having too many vowels as a leave. I mean, you're just scoring too much.
Yeah, and actually in this situation, keeping A, E, E, O, S, not too bad. There's some nice consonants floating out in space to work with to form 8-letter words, especially that T of Gloater goes nicely with her remaining letters, even though they're a bit vowel heavy. So Robin not taking too much time here with Axe. I think that's pretty obvious for 47 points. Going back to Mike, kind of having the opposite problem here. Duplicate H's and triplicate N's. This is going to be a challenging turn for him.
Yeah, first thing that pops out to me is Honan through the H, or through the O, I mean. I haven't looked at Quackle to see if there's anything better, but that looks pretty decent.
Yeah, Honan does look good here. It solves all those problems that we mentioned. The triplicate N's, you're playing 2 of them off, and then the duplicate H's, you're playing 1 of them off. You're also scoring 24 points and blocking that spot that you kind of set up. That's kind of a danger spot that you set up the previous turn. So that would be a very nice play that sort of achieves all the things that he wants to. If he wants to go straight up for points, and we see it, I think, setting up on his rack, just playing Ha to the left of Few Z, that's 33 points. That's 9 more points. But the 3 N's in that just feels like you can't let that happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I could stomach keeping 3 N's. I mean, I don't mind 1 N or 2 N's, but 3, that's bad.
There is some upside here with Honan. Is another nice thing about it. It keeps IN for the G that's floating out on Gloater. So ING bingo's a very distinct possibility. That would be something I'd be thinking about here, is trying to, one small amount of upside here with these bad letters is you might be able to hit an ING bingo in the future. We see Mike going a little bit off the bean path here, trying to find something a little bit better. He's setting up 9th now, which I think is the same idea as Honan. It's just fewer points.
Yeah, you're definitely looking to unduplicate as many of these as you can. So it definitely accomplishes what you want to accomplish. I think that was just a small miss on his part. Like, I'm sure he knows the words. He probably just didn't see it.
Yeah, I think just a little bit of inaccuracy there, missing a 5-letter word. There's so many 5s in the dictionary, it's hard to keep them all in mind at once, but I think this is still a decent play to achieve some of the things he really needed to do with that rack. Meanwhile, we're going back over to Robin. She has drawn a bingo. Remember, she left AEEOS. Her draw of RS is really going to bail her out here now. We hope she finds the 7-letter word. She has 1 7-letter word in these letters with many places to play it. So as long as she sees the 7.
I've missed this word before. It's kind of a tricky one to see. It's I don't know if people in chat have pointed it out yet, but it's Serose. Plays in multiple spots on the board, so she just has to find the, I guess, either highest scoring one or the one that doesn't give back the most. So she's probably going to look at all the places that she can play it and then decide.
Yeah, her highest scoring placement for Serose is just the pretty easy to spot pluralization of Few Z for Few Z's. That's 77. She's going for one that scores 4 fewer points. I think this one is a bit safer.
Yeah, I think I like this play a little bit more. If you play it with Few Z, you're slotting that E right on top of the triple letter square, which could give back a really big place.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot more merit, I think, to this placement. As you mentioned, Annette, setting up that triple letter score could be a 50-point counterplay for Mike. Now with this play, you might be hit on the triple from the R, but that's probably only going to be 27 or 30. So saving yourself a lot of grief in the future with this placement. So nicely done by Robin. We see Mike has drawn the dreaded WU combo. Certainly not what he wants to see, but finds a really good play out of it with that spot. We were a little bit worried about it for a few turns. Yeah. He's now cashing it in for himself for 56 points with Wa. This is a great play.
I mean, clearly that's why he played Gloater, because he knew a few turns down the line he would get a huge play there.
Yep, exactly. He's got some prescience that maybe the rest of us don't have. That puts him back in the lead. He was down by quite a bit after Robin's bingo of Serose, but comes back and is now 20 points ahead. Apologies for not updating the score for the past 2 turns. We'll make sure that stays up to date. Back over to Robin. She has drawn a nice kind of selection of vowels and consonants. They seem like they would work together. Unfortunately, no bingo here, so she's going to have to figure out something else.
Yeah, I mean, she has a pretty decently balanced rack here, so I feel like she should have some okay options. I'm seeing Ridgy from the R. It's the first thing that sticks out at me. Maybe something like dry next to X would be some points.
Yeah, Ridgey looks really strong here. It keeps ERT, which is a really, really good, really powerful bingo prone 3-tile leave. And it scores very well for her. 33 points for Ridgey. Gets rid of her worst consonants, keeps her best consonants, and does set up a few letters in space that might help her play 8-letter words in the future. So Ridgey does really feel like the play here for many reasons.
I do feel like, though, it might just depend on what she's trying to accomplish this turn. Like, she might not want to put those floaters out in space, because, like, she will go up after this play. So, I don't know, maybe she wants to keep the board a little bit more shut. Maybe she wants to play something through that E to shut down the board. Like, I don't know what her style is that well, so it'll be interesting to see how she approaches this.
Yeah, that's a good point. The board is a little bit shut right now. It's pretty hard to get a bingo down other than through maybe the A and the E and the S of Sarose. So if she could do something to the right of Sarose, something like Yurd, I suppose, would be taking control of all those spots at once, sort of leaving the board bereft of options. She would be taking about a 10-point lead with a play like that. Yurd to the right of Sarose would score 31. So yeah, maybe this will give us a hint in that as to what Robin's internal thought processes are, and maybe it would help us determine what she's thinking future turns, because those are two really opposite ideas for what to do on this turn.
Yeah, I think stylistically, I would probably prefer a more close board than this spot. But maybe she thinks that she knows more words than Michael, and she wants to be able to play those words, and if she gets them. She looks like she has Yurt set up on a rack now.
Yeah, that is something to think about. If she thinks she's at an advantage from a word knowledge perspective, she can keep the board open and hopefully take advantage of that word knowledge gap, which I guess we presume it exists because Robin has been an expert word knower for a long time. That's always been her greatest strength, is just total command of the dictionary. Ooh, we see her going for fused. This is not a word. We're going to see.
I did not recognize that. That is one thing that I've noticed with Robin, though. Like, watching her play on stream, she actually phonies a lot more than I would have expected. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if she, just gets words confused sometimes, because we all do. But I've seen her do this before.
Yeah, and it looks like she's on hold. She has not drawn replacement tiles yet. So Mike is going to give this one some thought. There's the word razi takes a D. That might be the source of confusion here. Obviously, fuse by itself will also take a D, but fuse does not.
It's difficult when you're playing against someone who has a reputation of like knowing all the words and being really solid on their word knowledge. Like, it makes you question what you know. It definitely does for me. Like, if someone rated 2000 play a word against me that I don't think is good, I might be like, wait, am I just like misremembering this and it's actually good because they played it, they would know it's good. So it's like a mind game.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of intimidation factor there. I do see it mentioned in chat. Mike may have gone through all the words at one point, so we might be selling him short a little bit. He might not be at too much of a disadvantage from a word knowledge perspective. It looks like he's still thinking about now. He's going for the challenge. Nicely done by Mike. This one's going to come off the board.
Yeah, very nice challenge by Mike there.
And thank you to Art Moore for wordjudge.me and our producers, Josh and Josh, for the challenge cam. We get to see this reaction in real time. Ooh, both are getting challenged. I think that's a good strategy here.
Definitely. She didn't seem too surprised, but yeah, no, this really changes the game. So I'm interested to see what kind of approach Michael is going to take now, knowing part of Robin's rack.
Yeah, the worst part about winning a challenge like this is then you have a lot more information about your opponent's letters than you did before, and that sort of makes you start overthinking everything. So I mean, it's good to get the free turn, but it does come at a price.
Yeah, definitely. So he's probably going to see now that Robin can play Reggie next turn. So whether or not he wants to do something about that, I don't know. But he also probably knows that the rack isn't that good. So like, maybe he want to play something like Fury down from the E and Sarose, figuring like, she has a Y, so she probably can't use the Y that he's putting into space.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thought. Something like Fury next to Sorose, that is 38 points, keeps decent enough leave of A and O. Normally, that would be a play that would give you pause. You'd be like, I really don't want to put the Y in that spot. It's so easy to hit 5-letter words ending in a Y. You're just giving your opponent 30 free points for no reason. But knowing that Robin already has a Y, you know that she's not going to hit you too bad there unless there's letters on her rack that you don't know that are higher scoring. But then again, if she had higher scoring letters, she probably would have tried to play them instead of playing Rigi. So
Right, exactly.
you might be a little bit more inclined to make a board opening play like that.
Yeah, I would be very happy to play Fury in this spot. And kind of figuring that, okay, well, she's probably going to play Rigi then, and I will get a big play through the Y next turn, or maybe draw a bingo through one of the floaters.
Right. Yeah. I think Mike might be thinking if he plays Fury, Robin just plays Rigi keeping the Y, which is actually a pretty good scenario. The Y doesn't otherwise have a lot of power on this board. So if you're forcing your opponent to keep the Y to block that triple line, that feels like a win here. So this lost turn by Robin is really going to change
Yeah,
the dynamic of this game.
I think if he does play Fury, though, Robin's going to play Rigi from the other R because she's going to need to open the space. She's not going to be worried about blocking the Y on the bottom.
Yeah, that's a good point. At that point, she's already down by 20. She'll be down by about 60 after a play like Fury, and then she'll have to switch more towards bingo mode rather than board closing mode. So we see Mike going for Fury. This is, I think, his strongest play equity-wise, scoring-wise, and I think positionally, it also should work out for him.
Yeah, I like this play a lot. I guess Robin could also consider playing through the R or something like that. Now, if she wanted to play like Yurd, it's an option. Kind of forks the board. Keeps a G though, which isn't amazing.
Yeah, that is an option. That is 36 points. That's the most she can score on this turn. I think that is maybe a little bit desperate at this stage in the game. The situation's not hopeless for her yet, although it is a little bit dire. I think, yeah, this is the play she probably should have made the first time around if she wanted to keep an open board, and we see her going for it now. I think this has a high chance of working out for her because the ERT leave is quite strong.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Not the best draw here for Michael. He did pick up the Q, which nobody really likes to see. So do you just play Trank through the R now to take out that Y, sort of? I don't know.
Yeah, Trank feels a little bit dangerous. I guess there's a lot of eyes unseen. Trank does put the Q one spot above the triple. So an I play will just give your opponent 33 free points. But it is tempting to keep a more balanced leave of ONS rather than playing something like Cat on top of Ninths, which would keep 2 ends, or maybe doing something like Cats and Fusees, which keeps 2 ends and gets rid of your S. It is kind of tempting to just keep the best leave that you can while setting the Q, and Trank does do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be more likely to just want to play Cat on top of Ninths, because you got to get rid of the Q this turn.
Yeah, the Q is a problem here. There's still 2 U's unseen, but Mike doesn't really have any scoring plays that don't involve the Q. So no real point in keeping it any longer than he absolutely needs to. We do see him just go for, I think this is a play I agree with. The 2 ends, keeping 2 ends, not great, but with so many E's and I's unseen, it could still work out for him. So nice idea by Michael here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is kind of a forced play in that position.
And back over to Robin. She didn't draw great to go with ERT. She drew duplicate M's, but she does have, kind of amazingly, a playable 8-letter word through the S of Sorose. Just perfectly fits in that little lane that you almost think doesn't really exist. So we'll give the viewers at home a little bit of time to maybe solve that puzzle. It is not a common word, but it's not being a common word. It's not going to stop Robin. She has, I think
I did not know that word.
She did alphabetize her letters, which means she's looking at the alphagrams. She might recognize these letters plus an S as containing a valid 8. But again, even if you have an inkling that there might be a bingo there, for one, you would assume it would end in either an S or an IEST or something like that. So it wouldn't play and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And like, it's just a hard word to find. It's not going to jump out at you immediately unless you're very solid on the words. And so the word, we see it posted in chat, is meristem through the S. We'll see if Robin finds it.
Yeah, that is really high level bingo to find. I think even if I'd studied the word and I knew it, there would be a good chance I would miss this just because of the letter pattern in that word. That's really difficult to see.
Yeah, and if she doesn't spot the bingo, she does have Jemir down from the G of Rigi, which is 36 points and sort of does a reset on the rack, does draw 6 with 2 blanks unseen. If I saw that, I would be very tempted to just stop thinking about bingos and just go for the points. And I'm going to point out here, Robin does have Miss Meter, I think, set up on her rack, which she might have an inkling that there's a word here. And she's wondering if it's Miss Meter or something else.
Right. Yeah, she might just recognize the alphagram and be like, I know there's something in here. And she just hasn't quite chewed it out yet.
Yeah, it's very frustrating when you have like that inkling that you've seen this rack before, there's something in there, and the letters are just not working out for you. You can't figure out what you could possibly be thinking of, and you just are forced to move on at a certain point. And then, doing some analysis later, looking up your racks on your phone, you see, oh yeah, there was a bingo. Your inkling was correct. Your intuition was not lying to you. It was just too difficult of a word to find, and that might be the case here.
For sure, that happens to me all the time. Or like, I'll write down a word and I'm not sure of it, and then I end up not playing it, and it turns out to be good. And I was like, yeah, I should have just trusted it. But it looks like she's going with trim down to the D, which is also a decent play. Keeps an E. It does shut down a board a little bit, which I'd be sort of worried about, just positionally. But I mean, in a vacuum, I guess it's a fine play if she's not going to find the bingo.
Yeah, I think this is fine. Jemir is probably an improvement. It is a little bit hard to break up a rack that has some good letters in it. It's got the E and the R and the T. I think a good idea here to play off the I with so many unseen, and then if you're going to play off the I, then you also want to play off the 2 M's, and that it sort of like compounds itself, and then you end up just playing everything off of your rack. So an understandable play by Robin there, missing the bingo. Back over to Mike. He still has that S on his rack. He has drawn some vowels to go with the duplicate ends. I think this is his best play in that he's not wasting too much time playing it. I think he probably should be addressing the Y.
Yeah, I think that looks pretty solid. I mean, he had a lot of time to think about that play, and he probably was hoping that Y would stay open. Cleans up his rack well, scores well, pretty much does everything he wants it to do. Robin picked up a good rack, though, so she's certainly going to bingo this turn. Just a question of with what.
Yeah, she's got sort of an embarrassment of riches here. If she doesn't find anything to the Y of Rigi, that fusees spot, which she used previously for the phony fuseed, as long as she puts her S there, there's plenty of things that she can play there. She does have one bingo to the Y. That will take some precision. It's not like she has a million options there. She just has one, making the blank an R. Looks like she might be setting it up. Yes, indeed. So that was a pretty quick find. So nicely spotted by Robin.
Yeah, but do you think that is the right thing to do, though, given that she is going to be up after this bingo, and the bingos basically score the same amount? Like, I think I would almost want to be more likely to take out the fusee hook myself to keep the board a little bit more shut then.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. There's still some S's unseen from Robin's perspective, and it is considerably more likely that Michael will play. If he does have a bingo, it'll be involving fusees, less likely involving the Y of Rigi. So, and as you say, Annette, bingos in either spot roughly score the same. She can play Treasury for 83, or she could do something like Estuary, making fusees for just one fewer point.
Yeah,
so
I think I'm more likely to play with fusee myself.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think I agree, and looks like Robin's going for that. That's just the more dangerous spot. And now that she's retaking the lead, A small lead, but a lead nonetheless. She can sort of get back on that track she was thinking about getting on a bit earlier of playing board control.
Sure, I like this move by her here, I think. I'm trying to figure out what the blank is. Is that a word?
Let's see. This is not a word.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's going right into the bag. So maybe this got past. It seems like it should be a word. This very much feels like
a word. But I feel like I would have seen that if I, just from studying, if that was a word. See, I don't know if she's on hold here or if he has accepted the play.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Mike is thinking about his play, not thinking about the word, because his eyes are sort of scanning the board, which feels like he's intending to make a play. So yeah, it looks like this one might have gone past Mike. So Robin batting 1 of 2 on phonies in this game.
Yeah. Well, she's certainly not afraid to pull the trigger on words. I'll give her that.
So if we assume that the Studer stays on the board, and going back over to Mike, Mike does have really good letters here, or not really good. I shouldn't say really good. They're getting close to really good. They feel like there's something going on here. I think the star play for him here is just playing rip making zap. That is
the first
31 points.
That looks very solid. Keeps a really good set of tiles, and he has a nice balanced rack. So lots of potential for improvements on later turns. Even though this board isn't really bingo friendly, but just keeping a balanced lead is always going to help you out.
Right. Yeah. If he wants to bingo, which he doesn't really need to bingo at this point. If he plays rip, he'll be up by 3. It'll basically be an even game. He can just continue to play normally at that point. If he did want to bingo, if that was his true goal, he would have to. He probably would do rip this turn, just sort of bide his time, but he would have to do something to open up this board. At this point, the only spot really to bingo is the Y of Rigi, and as we discussed earlier, the Y can be a nice bingo tile, but it's not a very common bingo tile. And the only other lane is maybe the S of Sarose. So I think he's perfectly fine biding his time here, but if the situation calls for it, he's going to need to figure out a way to open this board.
Yeah, I think so too. There's absolutely no reason to even think about bingoing at this point because it's pretty much a tie game. So just kind of keep things close, keep scoring, and then if you need to open up later, you can always worry about that when you have to.
Robin has drawn a W and 2 I's. That's honestly one of my least favorite 3-tile combinations. Just never feels like you can do everything you want to when you have those on your rack. And we do see a bunch of I's still unseen. So she's going to be wanting to get rid of one or both of these I's on this turn. Unfortunately for her, her best play, scoring 38 points, keeps both of the I's, which feels a little bit dangerous. But if she wants to just go for points here, she can play weep next to trimmed. Annette, do you think that's called for?
I would maybe be looking at something a little bit more balancing, like just swipe from the S. I don't know. I don't think I could play weep. I mean, it's not as many points, obviously, but that leave it's rough.
Yeah, I would be so tempted to just do weep here, and then if I draw 2 more I's, then I get to exchange. And if I don't draw any more I's, then maybe I don't need to exchange. But maybe. It's really hard to turn on.
It's a big scoring spot, so there is some merit to wanting to take that out.
Yeah, that is maybe the last really dangerous looking scoring spot on this board. The top left of the board is almost totally bereft thanks to Cat. It's really hard to do anything worthwhile over there. And so if Robin can take out the scoring spot next to trimmed for 38 points, it puts her up by 35 on a board where it's going to be hard for Mike to score. That does feel pretty good, even though the leave, obviously, especially given the contents of the bag, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I agree with that. The longer I look at this position, it's like with the board shape the way it is and the scoring spots the way they are, like that really is the highest scoring spot on the board. And so you don't want to leave that for your opponent either. And if you take out that spot, like Robin can't do a whole lot, almost no matter what she has.
Yeah, and so Robin doesn't know that Mike is sort of bingo prone at this point. We do see Mike has drawn the blank to his nice leave of C, D, E, I, S. Did draw another I, of course, but Mike's bingo chances or bingo potential all of a sudden went way higher than they were just a turn ago. Robin doesn't know that. I think at this point she's still got to be playing the game of just trying to outscore Mike. It's maybe not totally zeroing in on the remaining bingo lines as places that need to be played. If she was worried about that, she could do, as you suggested, Annette, something like swipe, getting rid of one of the eyes. It's just a big point sacrifice. But if she had some kind of inkling, she might want to do swipe.
I wonder why she chose that. I mean, I guess she wanted to unduplicate the eyes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little confused. I guess, is she trying to go for a bingo herself?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a strange play. I think on a normal board with plenty of opportunities, this would make a lot of sense. Get rid of your duplicate E's, get rid of your duplicate I's and the W, and you don't care that you're scoring fewer points because you have bingo aspirations. But on this board, I think it's not wise to consider yourself to have bingo aspirations. So she does block that scoring spot partially. She does kind of set up another one with the hooks on white, which are a D and an S, and she doesn't score that many points herself. So maybe leaving a little bit of opportunity on the table there, kind of not doing either of the things she wanted, other than keeping good letters on sort of a dead board.
Yeah, I think I'd be more likely to make it play like white if I at least had a hook to it. Like if I had the D there myself and maybe had potential for a big play going down, that could have been more justified.
Yeah, it was a tough turn, and certainly the eyes in the bag definitely spooked her, and we can't blame somebody for not wanting to have 3 or 4 eyes on their rack at once. Losing a turn to an exchange at this point feels pretty damaging. So you can see the idea there. But anyway, going back to Mike, he does have really nice letters, very bingo prone letters, but only one playable bingo. It's already been pointed out in chat, and it's a 9. To the AL of Gloater and Wah. So it's, I think, a findable word. It's a word that you could infer exists. You wouldn't be 100% sure of it, but you might think it's a word. Do I think it's going to be played here with the balance of the game a little bit close? I don't think, even if Mike saw it, I don't think he would go for it.
Yeah, this is the kind of word that, like, I might be looking at that lane and see if I could find a 9, and then I'd see that, I'd be like, that could be a word. I'll write it down, and then I just won't play it because, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and in double challenge here, Mike loses his turn if something comes off. We've already seen that happen to Robin, and then he would still be faced with a board that's unfriendly to bingos, and Robin would have the knowledge that he has the blank and the S, and that she should do everything in her power to stop him from bingoing. So it could backfire pretty heavily if it was phony. The word we're talking about, I guess we can reveal it, is deistical to the AL. Deistic is a word. Not every IC word takes an AL. It feels like it's completely random and arbitrary which ones take an AL. So it's something like if you saw it on Aerolith or Ziziva, you might type it in and be like, oh yeah, that's the word. And then over the board in double challenge, there's no way you can say to yourself, oh yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. I think unless you are 100% sure that is a word, that's really tough to pull the trigger on.
So I guess now the question becomes, if that does not get played, what does Mike actually do? He probably wants to leave the S of Sarose open. I guess probably the G and the Y of Rigi as well, just as an outside chance of bingoing in those spots. It does feel like he should be trying to open something here. It's a really hard board to do that. Actually, I'm not seeing a good way for him to set up a new spot for himself.
Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, he had ID put to the side earlier, probably thinking of just playing whited and ID, which seems pretty decent.
Yeah, I think that's actually, it doesn't immediately, from Robin's perspective, smell like a fish. Mike could make that play, and it would be construed as he's afraid of Robin's own hook on white, which we know she doesn't have. but white does look a little bit like a setup from his perspective. So he might just be, it would look like he was trying to block it, but he's secretly keeping good bingo letters while doing that. The other option maybe would be to do id under a studer, but that actually doesn't, that feels
I don't think you can do
very
that.
reckless.
Yeah, that's just giving back way too much, I think.
So yeah, that's kind of slim pickings here for Mike. He definitely wants to keep good bingo letters back just in case he can draw something that plays on this board. So yeah, I think your suggestion, Annette, of id and whited, it's just a nice little in between play, sort of bides his time. It actually does take the lead as well. It scores 18 points. So he's still in good shape, even if he never manages to get a bingo on this board, because he's maybe got a little bit of extra scoring power with the S in the blank.
Yeah, and I don't think Robin is really going to look into that play too much. Like, I think there's a lot of racks that he could make that play with.
Right. Yeah, it's a hard rack to or hard play to sort of infer what your opponent is keeping or what they're thinking. I guess in that when you're playing somebody who takes a long time on a turn, do you think that they're keeping a blank? Because Mike has spent quite a bit of time on this turn.
I think it would depend on the board. I think on this board, like, I would probably just assume that they're having a hard time finding a play that like scores anything. Because like there really aren't that many bingo lanes. So it's like, yeah, you could bingo through the Y or the G or the S, but you're probably gonna figure out pretty quickly that there is no bingo unless you have a blank. But even if you have a blank, it's just not a bingo friendly board. So I think I would more infer that they're just, struggling to find any plays that they like here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on a wide open board, and my opponent spends 8 minutes on their rack. That probably means they're trying to find a bingo with a blank, or try to find their best bingo with a blank.
Right.
On this board with so few options, I mean, we know Mike's letters are good, but if for example, he had like a V and 2 O's and 2 L's or something like that, it would just be really hard to figure out what to do on this turn. And that might be the inference I would make, is his letters are just horrible and he's trying to avoid an exchange.
Right, exactly. I mean, I feel like for myself, at least, when I take a lot of time, it's either because I don't like any of my options or I'm trying to find a bingo with a blank. It's like nothing in between.
So Mike is probably going to need to make a play quickly here. We do see him settle on id, which I think is a really good idea. It was hard for him to set up a bingo spot, especially without being extremely transparent about it. And this keeps decently. The downside is he's down to 4 minutes and 40 seconds on his clock with a bunch of tiles still unseen. So he's going to have to play the rest of this game a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think that's going to be difficult for him on this board. I mean, having a blank, number one, takes a lot of time if you're looking for bingos, but also it being a very close board that can make for really interesting and tough endgames too. So I think he definitely needs to hurry up a little bit here. He got a really good draw to that ID play. I don't know if he has anything.
Yeah, that was actually a good idea by Robin there to just unduplicate her letters, score enough points to retake the lead, and block the S. I think those were all good ideas. And especially doing it quickly, trying to put Mike under some time pressure is also a good idea. He has drawn nicely, and he actually does have 2 bingos available through the Y, but they're both kind of difficult to find and under time pressure, and maybe some stream jitters as well. I know both of us have experienced those from time to time. That makes it harder to find these words.
Absolutely. And like knowing you're low on time as well. I mean, I know both of these words, but I don't know if I would see them over the board in his position with the clock running down. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and again, not easy words to find. The Y does have synergy with the C and the L and stuff, but these words actually maybe not fitting that pattern, so to speak. The 2 8s available are ecdysial, making the blank an A, and dyslexic, making the blank an X. Oh, we see him finding it.
That's amazing. That is a really, really good find. That's impressive.
Yeah, nicely done by Mike here. We see the blank cam. Thank you, producers, for the blank cam. We see it's an A. He hits his clock. That's going to put him in nice, really nice, almost commanding position in this game with the board the way it is.
Yeah, if I am in Michael's position now, I would be very comfortable that I'm probably winning this game unless I get a terrible draw. I mean, for Robin, she's got to just be shaking her head and being like, "Oh shit, now what do I do?"
Yeah, it's really hard at this point to open up the board without just giving your opponent an easy way to immediately shut it down again. The term we like to use is forking the board, creating two spots at once that both can't be blocked at the same time. That feels close to impossible, or maybe fully impossible on this board. It's just any opening that you make is just it's a one spot opening that could get blocked in response.
Yeah, gosh, if I am in Robin's position now, I don't know what I would do. I mean,
I
I was
guess
looking at maybe something like dropping the N for NU to set up your G, but like you don't really draw into anything. Does she have any high scoring plays next to that I and Ictisiol?
yeah, that would be my first thought is can she do, like, if something like plent was a word, that would be
Right. I
nice.
don't see anything that fits there.
Yeah, I don't think she has anything there. She could do something like Lex, dropping her L to set up the P and the I for Ilex and Plex.
Yeah.
That would, I guess, force. I guess the downside of Lex is if you have an E, you can play LEA underneath the L of Lex and like do something. In this case, it would be something like VEE that would immediately block that spot. But it does rely on, you know, your opponent having the unseen E. So
Right.
that could be an opening gambit. The downside of that is it just doesn't keep good letters. I actually don't know if the letters of E, G, I, N, P, T actually bingo with anything that remains in the pool, at least in that spot that she's
Yeah,
creating.
that's what I was looking at too. I'm like, I don't see anything that would even fit there.
Yeah, and a quick look at Zizva. Again, thank you, Michael Thelen, for Zizva. It makes my job here a lot easier. Doesn't look like she would be able to draw anything, at least in the on her next turn, that would play either making Plex or Ilex. But maybe she would do that and then just play off the PG next turn and hope, or maybe play off the G next turn and just build towards something. It does, at this point, with this score, feel like she does need to get a bingo to get back in this game.
Yeah, I would be taking a while on this turn for sure, trying to find some kind of setup that would actually draw into a bingo. That is so difficult, though.
We do see a kind of a fun suggestion in chat of extending Forcer to Enforcer, which plays two of your best letters, but does sort of unambiguously create a lane for eights with an E.
Right.
Maybe that's not totally crazy. Maybe it's a total long shot, but it might be a little bit hard for Michael to actually block that effectively, especially if he doesn't have the V.
That's true, but like just playing anything down to that E will just block everything. Or even stacking on top of it. I don't know if that ever works.
Yeah, just a stacking play on top doesn't decisively kill it because there might still be nines available. But
what about dropping the P on top of a Studer and drawing an O for Lentigo?
Oh, that's actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe the most likely thing to work.
I mean, it's an idea. The bingo is obviously going to give back a lot if she does hit it, but you're kind of desperate at this point.
Yeah, that is. With 4 O's unseen, that actually does have sort of an outside chance of working. Yeah, we do see her go for Lex. I think there's some merit to this. It's hard to see exactly what the merit is because there's fewer tiles that she can draw into bingos than she would like, but it does do something. I think on that turn, you can't just roll over and give up. You have to do something, and this is what she picked.
For sure. I mean, at least now next turn, maybe she can play something with Ilex or Plex to set up a lane that maybe Michael can't do anything about from her point of view. I don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens. And
this is actually it's a tougher situation than it seems for Mike, because the play of Lex does signal that Robin is trying to bingo in that spot. Meanwhile, Michael has drawn 6 vowels and a V. If he does something like VEE, making LEA, that keeps 3 vowels. And not only does it keep it keeps 5 vowels. And not only does it keep 5 vowels, it keeps 2 A's and 3 O's. At that point, he's honestly maybe at a little bit of a risk of getting outscored, depending on how the rest of the game plays out. And so that's a really hard play to make. But it feels like he has to address that spot. We know that Robin wasn't going to draw bingo there, but it feels like a spot that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, I'd be looking at the pool and being like, what can she actually hit? And it doesn't seem that likely that there really are any words that have an I in that position or even a P.
Yep, and I just updated the unseen pool, so viewers at home can also see what Annette's talking about. Yeah, I think, now that I'm looking at the pool, what is there that ends with an I and a consonant or ends with a P? It's almost nothing. So we see Mike maybe wisely just ignoring that spot, moving on, trying to score a little bit with a play like Avo, but not keeping great letters with 4 vowels.
Yeah, I think I agree with that play there. I think there's a chance that you could potentially get in trouble if you try to block that. And, maybe Robin does happen to have a couple of higher scoring plays and he could get outscored.
Yeah, and we see Robin giving up on those bingo dreams pretty quickly and just going for jig, which was 38 points. I think at this point, just trying to get back into the game the old-fashioned way, but down by 20 after that play, unless Mike's letters are truly horrific, since we're now in an end game scenario with not a whole lot of scoring spots available. Feels like a play like jig probably actually doesn't win all that often.
Yeah, I mean, her winning chances at that point after drawing the J were pretty slim. I wouldn't say they're 0 after jig, but I mean, there is a chance that Michael just has crap, and maybe she could get some scoring plays and still be able to pull out a win. Unlikely, but it could happen.
Michael down to 40 seconds on his clock. So actually,
Yeah.
we haven't talked about it for a few turns now, but that's a significant issue here because if he loses enough on time, that could change the outcome of the game. So we see him go for Aloe. I think he just had to make a play quickly. He did have a play of Viola through the eye of Whited for 34 points, which I think would have put this game out of reach. But under time pressure, looking at that new spot created, I think just kind of zeroed in on that.
Yeah, I think just getting a play there down pretty quickly and making sure you're not losing the game because you're going over on time is probably the smartest thing to do.
And we see Michael now up 415 to 376, so a 39-point lead. And Robin's best play here, something like either Kep on top of Whited or Kip through the eye of Ridgy, kind of a neat little insertion play there. Those plays score 24 and 23 points. That's probably not going to be enough here, although I haven't totally played out the end game.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there's any way she can win this, unless she can somehow V-stick Michael here.
Yeah, I don't think that, because he has a Void through the eye of Trimmed in addition to Dove through the E of the phony Astuter.
Yeah.
So he's going to get his V down, which, yeah, I agree. That would be the key to victory, is if somehow you could execute a V stick here.
Yeah, I'm guessing Robin is just trying to see if there's a way she can go out in 2, which I don't know if there is on this board.
Yeah, if her tracking is accurate, she sees that Michael has DOOV, which is not prone to go out in 1 turn, maybe not even prone to go out in 2 or 3 turns, honestly. It's not great letters. But the board is so restricted that at this point that it's hard to manufacture an out in 2. There's just not enough places to play. She is a little bit down on her clock as well. She does have 2.5 minutes left to figure something out here. I did ask the computer what it thought was the best play was, and it is recommending Kit instead of Kip through the eye of Ridgy. Not exactly sure how that one plays out. Let's see. Yeah, that does not leave her an out, but it does leave her the PE underneath a Studer to get some more points out of the P. So that might be her spread minimizing path here, but not going to be a win. It looks like Michael's going to take this one, barring the unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting game, though. And, I mean, just judging on how low both of these players are on their clocks, it was a tough board to work with, and they both had really difficult decisions.
Yeah, I think the real turning, there are a few turning points here. Definitely Robin playing a phony and having it challenge off the board, that being Fuseed. That lost turn really impacted her. And then Michael finding the nice Igdisial on a board where, in a situation where he really did need to find the bingo to have good winning chances in this game. And he spotted it. It was not an easy find, especially with a blank. Even with the regular A and not the blank A, I'm not sure if I find that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But
I don't know
Michael
if we
found it.
did we even say what the other bingo in that rack was?
Oh yeah, I don't know if we got to it. It was posted in chat. That was dyslexic with a blank X.
Yeah.
That actually might take an S, so you maybe
right,
don't want to do dyslexics.
Mm-hmm.
Robin down to 50 seconds on her clock. She's kind of got that expression of like, what am I supposed to do here? Kind of the arms spread out.
I gotta just play a word. I mean, anything is better than going over on the clock at this point, and you're going to have to leave some time for your next turn. Looks like she's going for cap.
That is her highest scoring option, so reasonable to just take the points here. It does work out a little bit better, I think, to keep the P for future scoring, but
yeah, I mean, now she can play on top of a Studer and get some more points that way.
Looks like Robin's best play here is just going to be nut on top of a Studer, which it looks like she does find. So, and then Mike's got 15 seconds to find an outplay. I'm sure he can do it. He's certainly not O stuck. There's quite a few places to play the O. He just has to pick one. And he does find the best one.
Yeah, nice. I mean, that was a very fun game to watch, and I'm sure everybody watching would agree with that.
I think we're going to go to post-mortem here.
The tiles that you have.
I was looking sort of more through the S myself too. That Ecdysial is just ridiculous.
No, it's lovely that you found it. I'm assuming I mean, I'm remembering that it's good. I assume.
Yeah.
No, but this was idiotic because fuseeing is not good.
Yeah.
And I had Yurd here, and I had Ridgie here. I had them both. I had them both lined up. And then I just got it in my head that Fusee takes a D.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a fart.
A lot.
No, it was stupid. It was completely stupid.
I think it's just defuse.
It's just defuse, and it's fuseeing isn't a word, and I never should have played it. And I mean, I made up for it by not giving you anything, but you know, I had treasury.
Oh wow! Right, yeah. Did that played?
Yeah,
too,
it played,
right?
but it was
But,
roughly the same score.
Yep.
But I figure take away the S hook.
Yeah.
Much harder to bingo through the Y.
Yeah.
One less point. It's worth the sacrifice,
totally.
and not play something like austere to open up the board for you. So that was good.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
And obviously I picked the blank that I was going for. But then you got the V's. I got the I's.
Yeah.
This was a killer because I also had Cirrose here. I mean, the whole game would have been different. But then I would have opened up this, and you had. I mean, you would have gone here anyway. But you know, why am I for 1 point? Why am I giving you that?
This was interesting here too because the J and the K were out, and I was sort of afraid of like a K in both spots there. So
I had pelting when you played Ecdysial. Not that I was going to play anywhere, but. And I had no 5-letter word to come down, GLE or PLE. So I figured, why give you an easy V spot? Yep. I have the case P. I have the case I.
Yep. Oh, did you draw the
I
J?
picked the J.
Oh, wow, nice. I figured you had either the K or the J, and I was afraid of the K in that spot particularly.
If I had it, I would have. I picked it up after. I would have. I would have. Knelt, KNELT, which would have been a whole different ball game.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
52 points. Pretty much tied the game up, and then you have a lot of crap.
I wasn't happy to see the J, but it'd be interesting to look at it and see if
you had no
blocking
time.
here was right. Yeah, and I had AAEE.
I know what you had. I had better tiles, but no, like nothing. This whole nothing to do the K or nothing. I didn't have a K, nothing. I knew I couldn't go out and play with it. It's just everything was off by Tippy. Like this is what happens in a first game, right? Like, should I have played Tippy? Doesn't it make more sense that you can bingo through an S than you can
I would
off
think
a
so.
Y?
Yeah, I would be more concerned about the S. Yeah. And I don't know if there's anything to
And I knew there were
block
3 Ds to come, but I had 2 I's, 2 E's, 2 T's, like it just had to do something.
Yeah, at this point too, like I obviously got the blank of shuffling and I play off 2, and there's not a lot of places to bingo on this board, so
There's nowhere.
wasn't
You have to
happy
bingo through the Y.
like through the S or the Y. That's it.
So
like, if you can
and this is the whole turn game because of my idiotic play. It was just idiotic. So, what am I gonna do? First game, yippies.
Yeah, live
And I
stream.
knew it too, and I just don't know what happened. That I just made the decision that it's good. I didn't want to open the board for you. Yours did everything. It did everything except save a G.
Yeah.
But it didn't open the board. Put a Y here. It did everything right. I should have just played it.
Oh man. Shoot. For a final, did you get then 442 to 411?
Yeah, how did you not even go down a second?
When?
All right, so Mike and Robin wrapping up what was a really entertaining first game. I feel like both players very well aware that that game was complicated. It was tough, but it was a really good one to watch.
For sure. I really enjoyed the postmortem too, just listening to Robin and how she chose not to play Treasury. Like we talked about that too, and it was fun to see that she agreed with us.
And it is also interesting to note, I don't think either player was aware that Astuter was actually phony. They probably would have had something else to say had either of them been aware of that. But I know our a producer on the ground tries not to let players know about phonies in case they react poorly to them. So a great
I
first
wanted
game.
them to look it up to find out so we could see the reaction.
Yeah, maybe somebody's got to grab them after the game and put a camera in their face when they tell them or something. But won't be us. We're far away from Lake George. Anyway, a great first game from Lake George. I don't think we're taking a break here. That game went so long, basically every other game probably finished. Our next set of players is probably ready and raring to get onto the board. Those 2 players are going to be longtime friends, longtime nemesis, so to speak, Lisa Odom and Joey Malik.
Yeah, this should be a really fun lineup. I've actually played a lot with Lisa on Scrabble Go, and she definitely has the best of me. We haven't played that many times IRL yet, but she's a really fun opponent, and I have a lot of respect for her. I mean, you can see just on her scorecard that her career wins is, 60% almost, which is very high, and I feel like her rating is definitely lower than it should be.
Yeah, she's had a rough couple of recent tournaments, including World Cup this summer, I think was not kind to her. But she's been, again, just like Robin in the previous game, has been one of the best women in Scrabble for going on 3 decades at this point, has regularly been rated 2,000 or above. You can see her career win percentage very high. That career total of games, we thought Robin's was high. That's an astronomical amount of games. She's been very active in the scene for a very long time. Being a fellow Midwesterner, I've played her a bunch. Recently, I've been doing pretty well against her, but she's tough. Never liking my winning chances when I sit down across from her. And her opponent is Joey Malik. Another long-time 2,000 rated player. Both these players have played a ton of games. We see his career win percentage at almost 63%. Joey is a player that you feel like he's in contention for every single tournament he ever plays.
Yeah, Joey is a really fun player to watch as well, so I'm very much looking forward to this. And like you thought Lisa had played a lot of games, look at Joey's.
Yeah, that he is a relentless player. He just shows up everywhere in the Northeast. If there's a tournament, he'll be there, and he'll usually be winning it, or he'll be in the thick of things right until the very end. I think these players have played a considerable amount against each other. I know that they're good friends in real life, IRL, so to speak, so they often end up at the same tournaments. We see Joey with a little bit of the edge here. 42 wins for Lisa, 52 for Joey.
Wow, they've played a lot of games together. I'm really excited to see this. I think this is going to be a great game between two very, very, very strong opponents.
Yeah, two very competitive, very skilled opponents. They're friends in real life. Time to kill.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I always think it's interesting to watch people who's played a lot of games together play, because like there might be some meta game there that we're not familiar with. Like maybe there's, more phonies being played. They know each other's games so well. Maybe, setups will be made that aren't expected. I don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. And
sometimes you see it between players who know each other, that there's these little inside jokes that you don't really quite get, where somebody plays a word and then there's a little, snort of laughter and you're just like, there's something going on here that I don't fully understand. I would not be surprised if that was the case here. Joey and Lisa have been playing each other probably at this point since the mid-90s. So a lot of games under their belts.
Yeah, I hope one day I will have 5,000 games logged on cross tables.
Yeah, I feel like at the rate you and I play tournaments, and that, we'll be old people by the time we get that many games. But it's definitely something to strive for.
Definitely. I mean, just look at my Woogles record. I probably have over 10,000 games there. It's high.
So we're doing a little bit of bookkeeping here to get the scores ready for you, but I think the players are almost ready to go here. Let's see. I guess they're not ready to go, so we still have a little bit of time to kill. Oh, it looks like, sorry, we are ready to go. So I think we can cut over to the players. They're probably ready to get started since, again, the last game went a little bit over time. They might be running a little bit behind, but we see smiles, all smiles around. Would expect nothing less from either of these players.
So it looks like Lisa is going to go first this game. We'll see what her opening strategy is going to be like. I feel like a lot of people have different ideas what the best thing to do when you're going first is. I know for myself, I'm someone who loves to trade on my opening turn, like way more than most people. So I'm always curious how other people, approach these racks.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Lisa's going to trade on this turn, but it does feel like, well, I could trade my first turn, then it's just like I'm going second, right? Mm-hmm. I go second all the time. I go second in half my games. Why not make it one more? But we do see Lisa. She was really close to a bingo until she picked up her last tile, which was a U that sort of derailed chances for an opening bingo in this game. There's a kind of a quandary here. Does she play along with something like Meow, or does she play short? I don't know if she want to play like UM or something, or maybe even exchange OU. There's a few options here.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, as a cat owner, I'd be more likely to want to play Meow just because of that, but I don't really like it, if I'm being honest. I don't know what I would do here. This is a rack that maybe I would want to trade with, if I'm being honest. I would trade OU and then see what happens. I mean, because I don't really like any of the other options.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd be like, oh, it'd be so nice to exchange and kind of guarantee a bingo next turn, or hopefully guarantee a bingo next turn.
Yeah.
But if she does something like exchange 2, Joey could just exchange in response, not give her any letters for 8s, which would be a detriment to her bingo chances. So I think in the end, and we see her setting it up, going for Meow for 20. 20 is a lot of points. I mean, it's a lot more than exchanging, which is 0. And it does keep RS. It does kind of set up an S hook for yourself. So I think eventually you have to regrettably come to the decision that this is the play to make.
Yeah, I mean, this is totally the right play if you go by what the engine says. I think there's a lot of different styles when it comes to opening plays. Like stylistically, I would prefer exchanging here, but I know a lot of people would want to, make the right play based on Quackle, and like this would definitely be that.
And we'd see Joey with maybe a similar problem to what Lisa had, kind of close to bingo letters, but the U is sort of disrupting things, and he has too many vowels.
He's looking to play the same word going down from the end.
Oh, that is sort of smiling about it. That would be a fitting little start to this game between two very skilled players.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do, but it'd be really funny.
Yeah, the engine is saying that's not a bad idea, but something like opium may be a little bit better.
Yeah, he did have that set up on his rack, but I think he's going for the memes.
Yeah, nicely done by Joey. And we see that little bit of laughter there. We've got a nice start here, very symmetrical, very pleasing. But I have a feeling, Annette, that this pattern of play matching is not going to continue the rest of the game.
Seems quite unlikely. So another decent rack here for Lisa. Does she have a bingo? I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, I think she does not have anything available on this turn. It actually this rack has a 7, doesn't make anything, and then if you're looking for 8s, there's actually only one letter that would help you, and that is the C.
Wow.
For archfoe. So it looks really promising. It's got a nice balance of consonants and vowels. Some nice consonants, honestly. The S and the H go together, but not a whole lot going on. So she's going to be looking to probably play off some of these for as much score as she can get and hope to bingo in the near future.
Yeah, I would be taking a while on this turn. I mean, even just looking now, I'm not seeing anything that I love, even not knowing that there's no bingo.
Yeah, it's actually kind of an annoying position for Lisa. If you have a rack like this that has the F and the H, you determine that there's no bingo, but that your best play probably involves making a 3 with the F and the H. You could do fa, you could do fo, you could do fe. On a board like you'd be expecting, I could at least score 24 or 32 with one of those words. I just plop it down and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, her best option here is just playing hoof through the O of meow. I guess I should specify which O of meow. The one going down, that scores 20 points and keeps AERS. So it's not as set up. Yeah, it looks like she's going for Hoff, which is a similar idea. I think the A is a little bit better than the O.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And this maybe is a little bit more restrictive than you want, just because it does set up the S for Hoffs, but you already had that with meows. It doesn't do too much else for you. So I think hoof a little bit better for a few different reasons. But still a good idea. I think the right idea from Lisa to try to keep bingo letters and hit a bingo really soon.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty reasonable play. I mean, I'm assuming that Joey is going to bingo on this turn.
He does have his best bingo set up already, so very fast. He's got unpoetic. The blank would be a T if he goes for this. A little bit of a weird word. I would need to stop and think a little bit to figure out if I was making this up or not. I guess my question now is, Annette, do you think unpoetic takes an AL?
I mean,
we had deistical. Yeah.
Just guessing.
It actually does. So deistical from last game is a word. Unpoetical also a word. Obviously, it's not going to have any effect on this game because you would be running off the board with that. Right. But file that away in your knowledge of tens. Unpoetical.
Hey, it might come up in a Clabbers game or something. You never know.
Yep, you never know. That's why you have to learn literally everything, just in case it comes up in Clabbers. But nicely done by Joey, finding his best bingo relatively quickly. And we see Lisa has drawn what seems to be pretty good letters. And the C of unpoetic actually does give her an 8-letter word, and it's her only bingo. So she's going to have to find this.
Yeah, that's the kind of word that I saw it right away, and then I started questioning it. I was like, is that a word? So the word in question is condors. How do you say that? I don't know what that means.
I guess I would say condores. It's the plural of condor, which is apparently a coin, which is why it's a coin of South America, which is why it takes ES rather than just the S that you would expect. We see Lisa does have it set up, so this would be a nice find and her only bingo if it does hit the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that she hasn't put it on the board yet, she's probably slightly questioning it, but it looks like she's going for it, so great play by Lisa.
Yeah, it does look a little bit weird. If you're not aware of the definition or the origin of that plural, you would think, well, condor is not a word with an E, so why would condors be a word? Then you would start freaking yourself out. But Lisa, if she was freaking herself out. She overcame it, made an 86-point play.
Yeah, very nice. So we are back to almost a tight game now.
We see Joey has drawn the X, so that's going to give him some scoring punch. He does have that hot spot next to Meow. I guess, again, still have to specify the Meow going down, the one that he played. There's that nifty little X spot with next to that O. He could do something like X there or X, but he does have a 46-point play of extra, which I think it's probably worth doing a little bit extra there, scoring the extra points, even though you kind of are thinking on this turn, mate, what if I could play off WX and keep bingo letters? That would be my thought here.
Yeah, I would see EX and be like, that doesn't feel quite right. I mean, I would want to either play off a little bit more tiles, have a better leave, or, score more points. I think extra definitely looks a little bit better.
Yeah, and if he did want to play something like WX, his option is really just to play Wax through the A of Meow, which is leaving way too many points on the table to really be under consideration, even though it does feel really nice to keep AENRT with that S of Condora's just sitting out in space begging to be used.
Yeah, I think you have to take the points in this position, though. It's as tempting as it is to keep a really, really strong lead. I mean, the way to win Scrabble games is to score the most amount of points, so it's probably a good way to go.
If he did want to get rid of the W, he could play Wax to the left of Unpoetic. That is maybe splitting the difference a little bit. I actually the more I'm thinking about it, this does feel like a decent idea. Again, keeping decent enough stuff to hit some of the floaters of Condora's. Downside of this, it does block the E and the O of Unpoetic, which might have been useful for future 8s. So I think this is a pretty good idea. I think I would have been tempted by the 46 points for extra.
Yeah, I mean, that was, 16 points more? That's a big difference. I mean, I see why he did it, but I think I would have gone for the points there. Not saying that is the right thing to do at all, but that would just be my instinct. So very good rack for Lisa here. I think she had Cyanide set up, and now she's rethinking.
Yeah, I think if she did spot Cyanides, that is her best play. That is 92 points to the S of Condora's. Her other bingos are to the R and the D of Condora's, so she has to find an 8 here if she wants to bingo.
Yeah, I think she'll be able to find something with this rack. I mean, cylinder is a pretty common word, so.
Looked like she might have been setting up a phony. Oh, she's going for cylinder here. It looked like she might have been setting up the phony Ek Dyson, thinking maybe Ek Dyson.
That would have been really funny after the last game, having almost the same word.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about that. The adjective form was played in the previous game, as well as some phonies. That would be another phony to add to the collection. We see Lisa missing some points here, getting 8 fewer points for cylinder versus cyanides, and leaving that S open. I think she would have really liked to block that S as a bingo spot.
Yeah, maybe she should have taken a couple of extra minutes there just to make sure she wasn't missing something 2DS. Maybe she didn't have cyanide set up and I was just making that up in my head. But still a nice find, though.
Yeah, she only had a few options there, and with the blank, it's just nice to find something. And this is a good play from Lisa. We're going back over to Joey. Now I think it does make some sense to just play off the RY and keep AENRT because Cry is available from the C of cylinder. I guess the downside of that play, as I look more at the board, is really unfriendly towards 7-letter words unless you have an S. Right. And something like Cry blocks the S of Condora's, which would sort of be your escape valve for having an unplayable 7. Well, at least you would be able to play it on that triple line, but you would be blocking it. So maybe now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I'd be thinking of doing something else.
Yeah, I feel like Cry is what your first instinct is to play, but it just doesn't feel right given that you're now down like 80 points. It's like, where are you bingoing after that? It's like, sure, you can maybe hit a bingo down to the R in Cry or the Y, but that's pretty unlikely. And you don't have an S, so yeah, I would be looking for other options here. I don't know what those options would be that would make me feel good, but I also just wouldn't really want to play Cry.
Yeah, and at this score, Joey does really need to be thinking about bingoing first and
Yeah.
foremost.
Maybe do
He
something
does.
like try from the P in unpoetic.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It doesn't block anything other than the D of Condor's. So I think it maintains that S lane, but it sort of gives some information away to Lisa. So if Lisa realizes that Joey's playing pry instead of cry, she's going to have to figure out, well, why is he doing that? Why is he avoiding playing the play that's 8 more points with the same exact letters? And she would probably figure out, well, he's fishing for bingos to the S of Condors, and she would be trying to block that spot. So it might actually not work out for Joey to leave that spot untouched if he's too obvious about what his intentions are. So all that being said, I actually don't know what the alternative is.
Yeah, right. That's a really interesting spot if he had played pry there. I mean, obviously we see now that she would have just played violates down to the S, but from her point of view, like how do you block that spot then? Because if you play through the C, now you're opening floaters. So do you sacrifice a lot of points and just play a short word down to the S?
Yeah, right. It makes her life a little bit challenging to. So maybe it was worth considering. We see Joey just going for cry, and then Lisa with a nice post bingo draw after cylinder, just drawing the natural violate, which plays for 74 points. Clearly better than just playing violator for 2 more to the R of cry. No need to be that audacious when violated scores a lot of points and totally shuts down most of what was remaining.
I mean, she has to feel so good about that too. Violated just doesn't give back anything.
And Joey's in a bit of a pickle at this point. He's down by 130 roughly, has not drawn bingo letters. And even if he did, it's kind of unlikely that his bingo would play. This feels like I'm sure from Joey's perspective, he's feeling like his winning percent or winning chances are very low at this point.
Yeah, I would be looking to try to open up the board here. Maybe a 5 next to half, like, I don't know, Trona or something. It doesn't leave the best, but I think you have to be proactive here, don't you?
Yeah, it's really, it hurts to blow up these letters because this is a bingo and then another bingo would be your ticket back into this game. I would be maybe thinking about doing something like how from the H of half. HAO sets up a really obvious lane for 7-letter words. But if Lisa does try to block, it's possible that she also is giving back 7-letter lanes with her blocking play. It sort of, I don't know, maybe works out for you a little bit of the time. You could also, with the leave of A, E, and RT, draw something to the R or the Y of cry. So, but it only scores 6 points, which it's going to leave him. He's probably going to be at a 3 bingo deficit after Lisa's next turn.
Because he's going with a way different approach of just trying to keep a good leave here. And I guess his idea is that maybe next turn he can play a 6 down to the HA and open the board. Maybe he can hit a bingo to the R or the Y.
Yeah, I think this is actually a decent idea. It doesn't immediately open a bingo lane for himself, but it does score the points that he needs to be scoring to stay connected to Lisa. I mean, being down by 110 isn't really, you're not that connected, but you're at least within multiple bingos striking distance. Mm-hmm. Whereas something like how just you're scoring so few points. So I think a decent idea. And as you say in that, maybe the long-term plan is to play a 6 and then just try to bingo multiple times in all those floaters that you just opened.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a decent idea for sure. It looks like Lisa is considering KHI next to Meow. That scores a lot of points. I don't think she can really justify trying to block that R or the Y. She doesn't have any great scoring plays to do that with. So I like her just taking the points here.
Yeah, not fun to keep VU together, but can't really argue with 37 points. At this score, a lot of things would have to go wrong for Lisa for her to lose, or even for her to be at risk of, losing in the next couple turns. So I think she's okay with just taking the points and seeing where this leave ends up. And we see Joey, again, with really nice looking letters, still nothing going for him. The R and the Y of cry still not yielding any bingos.
Yeah, I almost think you have to blow up your rack here and try to open the board. if you can find a 6 going down to HA. Well, it looks like it has ornate set up. So that would do it for sure. Like, you can't keep fishing with, like, how do you even set up another lane and keep a good leave here and still score points?
Yeah, I think if he were to do something like that, it would involve making aha. I don't know exactly what he would do there, but I think the idea of just playing ornate, opening a lot of floaters, scoring some points. This does score 27 points. That's nothing to sneeze at. And there's still a lot of E's, R's, S's, and T's in the bag. So the floaters here could yield some bingos in the near future. So I think he's been struggling with those nice letters for long enough where it's probably a little bit of a relief to just move on from it.
Yeah, I like that play a lot. Sometimes it's easy to get stuck on those racks when you're like close to bingos, but you're not quite there, and then you get stuck fishing for 5 points every turn, and then all of a sudden your opponent has already scored 100, and then your bingo just doesn't even matter anymore. So at some point you have to just say, okay, well, I'm going to score points now. Hopefully I'll just, draw good after, and then maybe try to catch up.
And we do see Joey actually did have a nice, I shouldn't say post bingo draw, post 6-letter word draw. But meanwhile, Lisa, she kept UV together, and for her efforts, drew another U and a W to go along with those. I think I would be very tempted by an exchange here. Otherwise, maybe her only real playable play is something like Wuss, making keys using both S's. The S's aren't super useful on this board. They don't do anything particularly useful, so don't need to get too attached to them, but I would be kind of sad to see both of them go away for just 25 points.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably lean towards an exchange here, and I'm someone who's very stubborn. I hate exchanging, but there are times where it's just the right thing to do, right? And any play she makes here just still keeps really bad. Like, if you play Wuss, you're still keeping VU, which just feels so bad.
Right. Yeah. It feels like you're doing it for nothing. You're trying to fix your rack, but your rack's still going to be bad next turn. And so what did you gain? And again, as I mentioned, the pool does have a lot of E's, R's, and T's. It would be very tempting to keep NS and just try to bingo through the floaters. She's going for news here, which is 19 points. Doesn't block anything particularly other than H starting with a T. And maybe signals to Joey that she's got another S. Maybe that doesn't matter too much. But yeah, I think I probably liked exchanging more than this play. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think she probably feels like she's up so much that if she just keeps scoring, even if Joey gets one bingo down, she's still in really good shape, and she can probably take control of the board after that, depending on what he does. But I mean, there are worst case scenarios where you just draw terribly after that, and Joey bingos twice, then you're in trouble. So yeah, I don't know. I think I would also lean towards exchanging, but I understand why she didn't.
Yeah, and I wonder if she's thinking that the W goes really nicely next to the O of violated. If she just draws an E, she's got 28 free points and can sort of move on from those letters. So maybe there's a little bit of an escape valve there to get some use out of the W that she's keeping. So I think it works out for her as she draws the Z, which should help. Meanwhile, Joey, as we mentioned, did draw nicely after his play that blew up his rack of ornate. He's rewarded with some very nice letters that will bingo. He's got to decide between something like inditers and nitrides. Looks like he's going for nitrides, leaving 4 points. I think trying to keep the R of ornate more open than it would be if he played inditers. That might be the factor here.
I don't know. I think I would have gone for something that didn't block that side of the board. Maybe disinter instead. Try to open the left side of the board, because you're going to need another bingo to get back into this.
Yeah, and you might actually need the bingo to the Y.
Right.
I guess maybe we shouldn't say that. Joey is only down by 60 after this play, so maybe doesn't need the bingo to the Y, but a bingo to the Y would be nice. So I think there's some merit to doing something like disinter or just taking the points with inditers. But we see nitrides come down, a nice bingo by Joey, and back over to Lisa. She's got was set up on her rack. I don't think that plays anywhere. She just probably wishes it does.
Yeah, I think we've all done that. Let's see. Is she looking at? Trying to figure out. Does she have anything with that S that uses this C? I don't think so.
Yeah, not quite the right letters to use that S of nitrides. She might be. She's got Wiver or Wyver set up on her rack. That would go through the I of nitrides. That would, I think, set up the S. No, no Swiver. I'm making that up utterly. So don't listen to me.
I had phony with that before.
Yeah, I feel like that's in my brain for reasons that I should try to forget. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like she might be thinking about keeping the Z. The Z doesn't do a whole lot specifically on this board. It's actually hard to use it with nitrides unless you draw Zest. So I think just taking the points, the 30 points here with Wiz, maybe there's an outside chance that Joey bingos from that O of Ornate for a lot of points. So this does take care of that aspect of the board. I think a good idea just to keep up the scoring here.
I think so too. I like that play, and I think keeping the V and the U together this turn isn't that bad, given that you have ERS to go with it. Like that's a way more flexible rack than the WUSN or whatever she had before this.
Joey actually drawing the J here, which is maybe honestly the key to any kind of victory chances for him, is scoring 55 points with a non-bingo. And he hits it with Jet. So now that I see that come down, I wonder if Lisa maybe should have been thinking about that spot. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be super worried about the J play there, but maybe you should be.
Yeah, maybe you realize that that's one of the easier ways for Joey to get back into this game is a J bomb in that spot, and so you just play off WE to block it. We weren't really thinking about that, which I think is sort of a testament to thinking when your opponent is down by 100, you're thinking the bingo is going to be what gets them back in the game, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was really that much Lisa could have done to taken out that spot, though.
So Joey's making a bit of a comeback here. He's only down by 40, but Lisa, I think, still in good shape with not a whole lot of open bingo lines available, and she does have the last S, which will sort of prevent Joey from making some nightmare setups that are hard to deal with. But the downside is she still has that VU combo. It feels like we've been watching her deal with that combo for a long time now.
Yeah, I would be wanting to probably try to block that R in Ornate, but I don't see a great way to do that without giving back anything.
Yeah, that's an annoying spot to deal with, and maybe that's why Joey played nitrides, is to leave that spot untouched, and you sort of have to sacrifice a lot of points. You basically have to kind of punt on a turn to block that spot, unless you have like a miracle 6-letter play that hits the triple in exactly the right way, a play that you would make anyway. But if Lisa is laser focused on that spot, it's hard for her to do much about it. It is a tough turn for her. She could do something like review, REVUE, through the E of nitrides. It's kind of like the equity play, I would say, keeping ELS. But she doesn't really need to be obsessed with bingoing at this point. She maybe should be more looking to score rather than bingo.
Yeah, that looks pretty decent. Yeah, I think this is a turn that a lot of players would take a long time on, because you can't really do the things that you want to do, so you just keep looking for a play that accomplishes what you want, and you're just not finding it.
Yeah, I think we see a little bit of a head shake from Lisa. She's probably agreeing with you fully, Annette, that all the plays that she sees have major deficiencies. They're not doing exactly what she wants. They're leaving things open that she would rather not leave open.
Yeah,
I'm actually not sure what she's going for. Oh, I think, yeah, this is probably a decent idea, just to sort of conclusively end Joey's bingo chances.
Yeah, I actually really like that. I didn't even consider burning my S in this spot. I was looking for plays that wouldn't, do that. But on this board, what's the S really worth anyway? So I actually really like this play by Lisa.
Yeah, good idea. And the V placement is perfect to prevent Joey from easily opening that area of the board. He would have to have, very specific 2-vowel plays that would sort of get him closer to opening that quadrant. But with the A of Ornate sort of blocking bingos in that area, it would be a multiple turn process
Mhm.
to get things going in the top left of the board, which is really the only place on the board currently that there would even be space to play a bingo. The other option here, which Joey's probably going to have to think about now that he's down by 65, is there a way to play something to the left of Meow that would give him some life in terms of getting a bingo down? And we see his letters aren't even that good. It's like hard to imagine what he could draw to make a play like that worth it.
Yeah, it's really difficult for him on this turn to make a play that opens the board on that side. So I don't know, maybe try to find a play that scores and then worry about opening later, which feels like you're just kind of giving Lisa a chance to run away with this game. But it's like, what do you do then?
Yeah, there's not too much left in the bag. So he doesn't have, it's not like the mid game. We're approaching sort of the pre-end game here. He doesn't have 5 or 6 turns left to worry about opening the board. He's going to need to do something decisive relatively quick. And if he doesn't do it this turn, there's not going to be too many more turns left to do it. He could do something like just play off all his letters with Dirtbag through the A of Ornate. That sort of puts letters out over in the left side of the board to maybe do future openings. But again, Lisa can just play a tight play near those letters and prevent Joey from opening the board after that point. So it feels nice to get letters into that quadrant to hope that something materializes. But I think Lisa is too good, has played way too many games. It's been at the top of the standings for a very long time. She wouldn't just let that stand. She wouldn't just ignore it and move on to something else.
I don't know, though. It might be justifiable and just hope to get really lucky and draw a bingo through the Y. I mean, it is still a bingo lane, even if it's tough to hit.
That's a good point. And we did see in our last game that sort of a miracle, not really a miracle, but a bingo materializing through a Y that was considered a very marginal bingo line. So again, we have the Y in that spot. It's a very marginal bingo line, but there maybe is some hope in that area if you just leave it open and sort of divert Lisa's attention away from that area.
Yeah, I just think if you don't open anything else or threaten to open anything else on this turn, like Lisa will just shut down that part of the board and it's just game over.
Yeah, we see the unseen pool is not looking all that friendly. The Q is still lurking. Lisa does have the Q, so Joey doesn't have to worry about it, although he does not know that yet. But I think at this point, the Q is maybe the last thing on his mind. He's probably aware that if he draws the Q with nowhere good to play it, that's going to sink him, and he just has to hope that that doesn't happen. But yeah, the remaining consonants aren't looking very friendly. If you play something like Dirtbag keeping an F, he's drawing into a bag that's still got 2 G's and 3 L's. And a P. It's like hard to imagine what he could draw, but maybe he just has to hope that something good materializes. Really tough for him on this turn.
Yeah, it's looking really difficult to get back into the game. I mean, maybe you do something like Drib with Duh and then try to play through the B on the bottom to open something next turn, but do you have time for that? I don't know.
Yeah, time is, or the amount of turns remaining in this game is a real limiting factor for Joey in being able to sort of design a really grand, ingenious, multiple turn plan for opening bingo lines. He doesn't have that luxury of having several turns with which to work. So maybe something like Dirtbag would just, so you do it and you just sort of pray that it works out for you because you don't see what else could work. I think he had Fetid through the E of Nitride setup. Now that's a decent play on the score. It's 26 points. It does mostly kill the marginal bingo line through the Y. And if Lisa's paying any attention at all, she's just not going to open up anything more. Ooh, we see Joey going for Berg. I wonder if he has something specific in mind for the Y. I wonder if that's why or maybe something through the A of Ornate. He might have something specific in mind.
Yeah, he definitely could be looking for something either to that A or through the A. That's what I would be thinking with that play. But I don't know. If I'm Lisa now, I just want to take out that A, and then the Y is pretty much dead. So I don't know. I'd feel pretty good if I was in her spot.
Oh, she actually does have kind of an interesting idea here a little bit out of left field, ignoring everything that Joey's trying to do. She could play Qua for 32 to the A of Meow, setting up her A for Aqua. She does hold the last A. And then the idea there would be to outscore anything that Joey tries to do, even if he bingos through the A of Ornate. You've got that Aqua spot.
Yeah, I think that's
coming back.
awesome. Like, how do you lose the game after that? Like, you should be able to probably outscore any bingos for the Y at least, and presumably anything to the A as well.
Yeah, that does feel, it's like it feels a little bit risky though if you're Lisa. Like if you're overlooking something and you do, or you've missed, I guess before I made that play, I would of course double check the A's.
Yeah, just make sure you've tracked off all the A's.
And the blanks. You also can't forget the blanks in that scenario. It would be, I would feel very foolish making a play like Qua, totally convinced of my own genius, and then have my opponent immediately use the spot. That feels like a typical Charles play. So I would be, certainly in Lisa's shoes, be looking to make something that's more decisively defensive, probably playing through the A of Ornate. Maybe just playing Qua there instead of to the A of Meow for 20 fewer points.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. If I see the possibility of playing Qua there, I think I do it every time. It's also a really nice way to build spread if Joey doesn't bingo.
Yeah, and she's certainly looking at the pool at this point. She might even be doing a little bit of mild iteration, trying to figure out, wait, is there actually anything through the Y? Is there anything through the A? Do I see anything right away? It is a lot of tiles to think about, but you can't end bingos in AL there. You can't end them in ATE in that spot. So what is there actually that Joey's going to do there? She might be taking a quick look to see what the real danger is given the unseen pool. And then maybe if she decides there's no real danger, she just does something like Qua next to Meow, or something else, and maybe Qualms to the S of Condoras to block the Y. It seems pretty much in hand for Lisa here, given that Joey did not draw anything immediately threatening.
It looks like she was just counting the A's and then realized, oh, right, I have the last A. So very nice play by Lisa.
And we did get confirmation in chat that Joey is actually not threatening anything through the A with those unseen letters. So even though there's a bunch of stuff unseen, nothing in that spot. So it's looking like this is going to be Lisa's game.
Yeah, and she could pick up some extra spread on that play too. I mean, there's definitely a chance that she might draw into a bingo, which is going to score a lot.
I don't think so, but you make a good point in that this game is not occurring in a vacuum. It's occurring in the context of a 15-game tournament where spread will matter at the end, especially with only 15 games. The winning player is quite likely to win based solely on spread unless somebody runs away with it. So building up spread where you can with those setups like Qua to Aqua makes a lot of sense.
For sure, especially in as short of a tournament as this is. I feel like in the longer tournaments, spread is probably less likely to come into play for the winner. But in a tournament like this, there's a good chance that the top 3 players might have the same record.
So Joey I don't think has anything. Maybe he has something through the YS. We could do a deep dive into that, but he's down by 80 points at this point. So even if he did play a disconnected 9-letter word, or even just a conventional bingo through the Y, it probably wouldn't be enough. And now he's looks like he might be fishing for something, or have something in mind for, like, I'm thinking he might be trying to draw the A, thinking that Lisa made a mistake with Qua. Like if he draws an A, he plays plated, which is really hard for Lisa to deal with. He just has to hope that Lisa totally bungled that turn.
I mean, he might also be thinking that, okay, maybe Lisa does have the A and she'll play away a word with Aqua that opens a lane that maybe he can bingo on the right side of.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Although any play from Lisa in that spot will probably score too much. Where even if Joey did have an out bingo in response next to her Aqua play, probably wouldn't be enough, but it would be a spread saver, so to speak. In terms of,
I think he knows he's going to lose this game. I don't think that was a play that he made thinking he had a chance to win.
Yeah, there may be some outside chance that he mistracked the A's or that the bag contains the wrong amount of A's or something like that. He can draw a miracle plated
No.
through. But Lisa's best play here would be something like Glamour for 43 points, putting the G on the triple letter score, which would be very hard for Joey to bingo back to. He would need to end a bingo with an I, which I think just even a cursory look at the remaining tiles would indicate that there's no 7 ending in an I there. So that feels like a good play. She did have Graham set up. Ooh, she might be going for maybe she's trying to hit a bingo in that spot. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, she could just leave that spot open and try to fish for a bingo. Because there really isn't anything that Joey can do about that spot. So she's probably more worried about him bingoing through the A. See,
Yeah,
I don't mind that, actually. I don't know if I would have played off the R, though. Maybe just play Gam instead, if you're trying to go for a bingo through or with Aqua.
Yeah, I think Gam probably would be a little bit of improvement there. But yeah, the idea probably is to draw something cool, making Aqua and make Joey suffer a little bit extra. We'll see if it plays out. I don't think... And I don't think there's a 7 in those letters. Zizova confirms there's no 7 in those letters.
Mm-hmm.
Joey's probably a little bit worried that Lisa has tollage. That would be an available 7 in the remaining pool. But
what do you do about it? You play PI?
Yeah, you just play PI and
right?
Make sure that you're not giving back a triple in the meantime.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Yeah, what a shitty spot to be in from Joey's point of view. It's like, gosh, now I'm losing the game and I have to block a bingo and sacrifice points.
Yeah, we see maybe a little bit of a smirk there. He kind of realizes that the situation has gotten out of hand, and now, as he's saying that, he has to sacrifice points in a lost effort to make sure that he doesn't lose by even more, which just feels very painful and very unnecessary. But yeah, in these tournaments where every spread point counts, sometimes the gratuitous violence, the gratuitous spread seeking is very justified.
Mm-hmm.
So we do see PI come down, I think, blocking the possible tollage, which we know Lisa didn't have. And now Joey also knows that she didn't have it. But she still does have plays through involving Aqua. Something like Leapt would be 37 points. Yeah, doesn't have too much else than that other than maybe just Leap, but she can still use that spot effectively.
She's probably just looking to see if maybe Joey can go out somewhere and maybe looking to block that, but I don't think he can, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look like that. Doesn't look like it's possible. So we see, I think Lisa's going for it. That's going to be 37 points if she does play it. She's going to, looks like, win this game quite handily.
Yeah, that was a well-played game, though, by both of them, I would say. No major mistakes, no phonies. I mean, maybe Joey could have tried to open the board a little bit earlier, but, I mean, he did a good job trying to give himself a chance to get back into the game. I mean, after Jet, he definitely was back in it.
Yeah, he just needed the draws to work out a little bit differently, hit something quicker through the floaters of Ornate, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think did very well considering the untimeliness of some of his draws and some of his sort of unfriendly consonant heavy racks. Lisa, again, maybe looking to play cyanides instead of cylinder, but it worked out very well for her as the subsequent violated just left Joey in an extremely poor position. Very hard for even a skilled player like Joey to navigate their way out of a situation like that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that, given the draws that he had, he did a really good job minimizing his, spread and didn't lose by more points than he needed to. And there are just games that you can't really win, and you just got to make the best out of it and move on to the next one.
Yeah, kind of a tough one if you feel like you played well to lose by a considerable margin. But Joey probably knows more than everybody, considering the amount of career games he has. That's how Scrabble goes sometimes.
Yep, it sure is. And I'm sure, you have experienced the same thing. We've both played a lot of tournaments, and you just got to shake it off.
Yeah, and I think when you're playing somebody that you really like personally, it is quite a bit easier to shake it off. I don't know about you, but after a good game against a friend always feels like a win, even if it's not reflected as such in the standings.
Would absolutely agree with that. There are certain people that I don't like losing to as much. I'll just leave it at that.
So we see Lisa going with Lept. Nice play by her, cashing in on that nice little spots she set up very aggressively, very creatively, giving herself more upside in a tournament where spread is always going to count. Joey does have nice plays here involving veg, VEG. He could do something like ledge. Maybe another reason why you would want to do gam instead of gram, to avoid giving that a little bit of a scoring punch for Joey that he wouldn't have otherwise. He could also, if he wants to get really creative, he could put 4 letters in front of gram and score 22 points while doing it. It's not the best play, but it's maybe a little bit more
telegram. Nice.
Yeah, a little bit more stylistically exciting. Since we're on stream, wouldn't be necessarily surprised to see that go down. We already saw him maybe make a little bit of an equity sacrifice just to maintain symmetry at the beginning of the game with meow meow. So wouldn't be totally surprised he recognizes his lost position and just goes for the style.
Yeah, speaking of meow, my cat is in the other room meowing right now, so I should probably let him out after this.
Yeah, I think my own cats are probably asleep somewhere because I haven't heard them for a couple hours, but we'll hope that they stay asleep because it's definitely occurred on other commentary gigs where there's bleating at my door and then everybody in chat is freaking out about, where'd the cat go? Why didn't you let your cat in?
Right. I think Joey's just trying to find out what his best end game here is. So he decides to go with gets. Did that block anything for Lisa? Does she have an out?
Yeah, that's actually good. I did not think about this when she played left. It looks like she does not have an out. Her best play is just Bose, BOS to the S of nitrides. So maybe one minor downside of left was lacking an outplay. So I wonder if something like Kibla on her previous turn from the QI actually worked out better for her, because she would have been able to play like Taupe or something. So,
right.
But once you make a setup like that, Quada Aqua, like you have to use it. Yeah. You have to demonstrate to the viewers out there that you knew what you were doing and that you're cashing in on your genius. So
exactly, you don't want to feel like the setup went to waste.
Yeah, exactly. It's like once you set it up, you have to use it. So we see Lisa probably coming to the sad conclusion that she does not have an odd play. Now she's just trying to make sure she knows what Joey is going to do. He's got Eld. Let's see. I'm a little bit confused by that play. What did that achieve? I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, because Joey has Del in the bottom left. So yeah, that I think like why didn't Lisa play the B instead of the L? She may have mistracked. I think we're going to cut to the overhead cam here. Yeah, I think players are post-morteming, so we can head over to them.
You get 6 for me. Right?
Yeah.
So you're 4-9? No. I don't know if I have the score right.
I have 405. I think I have 405. Wait a second. 327.
Yeah.
341. 361. 376.
Yeah, there's a mistake. 389.
Yeah. 404.
404.
And 410.
410. And then 478.
Yeah.
Okay. Good game.
Game, yeah. Is that good?
It's good in Spanish.
There was some.
But I was thinking, like, some of it was plural that
Yeah,
way.
some
but
there was some sticky.
But
I'm sure everybody in the world knows by now.
and I've been doing a lot of Spanish.
It is good.
lately.
Okay, good. Thank
Okay,
God.
condores.
Yeah.
I mean, in Spanish that
It looked
is
a little- yeah.
in Spanish that is the plural, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I think the mic might be on, so I gotta say good stuff only. Yeah, because if that wasn't good, that would have been quite a punishment to allow those two. But okay, yeah,
Right.
yeah, I knew it wasn't
Which,
good without the
I
yes.
do Duolingo I've been doing Duolingo
Yeah,
for the last like I don't know how many.
Yeah. I feel a lot better now. That would have been pretty bad to be sitting on all game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And it was sort of ringing a bell that it was good, but
It was, and I'm glad it's what I thought it was. Yeah. It just,
And I
it
just
looks weird.
decided to block here because in case that was the only other way you could bingo, and then I knew.
Well, it's funny if I played that up here, I would have had deep highlight, but you would have blocked anyway, so it didn't matter, and I wouldn't have scored enough. So, yeah. I'm not sure that was right, but I couldn't resist. It worked out well. I had pen with that.
Yeah, and you were getting closer and closer, and I just was
Yeah.
trying to avoid like playing the S, but I just thought this blocks 2 lines. That's got to
Well,
be.
even after Jet, I BFGR, so it's like it looked like I was getting close, but I just wasn't threatening anything. And
Okay.
you had the S's left, and you had obviously the last A, so I couldn't even play a verse. Yeah. All right. Well,
Good game.
nice highlight for you.
Yeah.
You got that one.
All right, so we got a little bit of postmortem there. Some doubt as to whether condoras could be pluralized that way. Certainly, I would be a little bit freaked out by that non-standard pluralization. Luckily, both players recognized it was good. And yeah, a great game here for game 2 from Lake George and Lake George, New York.
Yeah, 2 great games so far, and I'm excited that we have another one today. I think we're going to take a short break now. Is that right, Charles?
Yep, I think we're going to take a short break, get the players situated, give your precious commentators a little bit of a break, maybe pet the cats a little bit. But don't go anywhere because we've got one more game for you tonight live from Lake George, New York.
Yeah, we'll be back shortly.
Oh, look, a kitty.
There he is.
Welcome back, everybody, including the cat, to we're about to just start round 3 of the Lake George tournament coming from Lake George, New York, live here on the Let's Play Scrabble YouTube channel. Once again, I'm Charles Reinke, joined by Annette Oberstead, and we have a great matchup for you here in round 3. We've got
By my churro. Okay, you can go.
Hello, Churro. We've got Seth Lipkin, longtime expert, needs no introduction, versus somebody who might need a little bit of an introduction. He's only been playing competitively for a few years, but rising star in the Scrabble world, Evan Chester. Annette, what can you tell us about these players?
Evan is actually someone that I'm I wouldn't say pretty familiar with, but we played a session on Woogles not long ago, and we had some really good chats afterwards, and he had some very good insights, and I consider him to be an extremely good up-and-coming player, and I can't wait to see him play, because when we played, he played extremely well, and Seth is someone that I'm very good friends with, so I already know his game pretty well, and he's extremely strong. I'm sorry, my cat's meowing. I'm like, hey, go. Dude, go. I have to put him in the other room. We'll wait until we get to the game, though.
So we're going to look at player cards here and give a little bit more insight into what these players have been up to. First, we're looking at Seth Lipkin, rated over 2,000. I think kind of a newly minted 2,000 player. He was sort of clubbing along in the 1900s for a bit, decided he was tired of that, and went up to the 2000s. So I think most people know him as the guy who's responsible for crosstables.com, where we all monitor tournament results, annotated games, upcoming tournaments. It's really, if it's not your homepage on your whatever browser you're using, it should be. It should be the first place you go in the morning, the last place you go at night. Check out what's going on in the Scrabble scene. Also creator of the program Ulu, which does word lookups in addition to powering the clock that we use for these Let's Play Scrabble streams. So Seth really doing it all. He's a great guy to know and a great guy to play against.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Seth is just one of the nicest guys that I've ever met in the community. So I'll be rooting for him probably just because I do consider him to be a good friend of mine.
And his opponent is, as we said, relatively new player, Evan Chester. Now my cat is meowing. Excuse both of our ends here. Evan, I think, started playing in 23 or 24 pretty recently, but he's already rated almost 1,800. And he's, as you say, Annette, he's, I think, taking the strategic aspect of the game very seriously. He has his own Twitch channel. Maybe we'll be able to get a link to it in the chat, where he occasionally does live game annotations, live game analysis. I found those, helpful. It's nice to see a new player like that, sort of really getting into the cerebral aspect of this game.
Yeah, I've actually never looked at his streams before, so that is something that I need to look into doing as well, because I have a lot of respect for his game. So this should be a fun matchup. It looks like Seth has the best of it so far, but very small sample size of just 2 games.
Although we do see a 600 pointer. Seth is probably very pleased with that one. That skews the average score pretty drastically but this matchup is a lot more closely contested than those numbers would indicate. So I think the players are ready. Annette, I think we're ready, so we can cut over to the game.
Yep, let's do it.
Looks like Seth has a refreshing beverage of some sort. Can't quite see the label, but I'm sure it's tasty.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his rating now. He just peaked over 2,000, I guess, which is awesome. I'm very happy for him. I know that was a goal for, his future tournaments, because I talked to him before Swillens, and he had just dipped below. So seeing him above that 2,000 mark again is nice. Yeah,
once you hit 2,000, it's like you kind of just want to stay there. Whenever you dip below, you're like, oh, that's annoying. I got to get to another tournament as soon as possible and try to win it. Get back over 2,000. Sort of becomes a little bit of a part of your identity, maybe speaking from experience a little bit. But
what a draw here for Seth. Just going to open with Panther, probably. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
What a start.
Yeah, and not too much to think about. It's pretty quick to figure out that there's no other bingos playable here. It's also pretty, I think, self-evident that you don't want to place the H on the double letter score. That's, what we call the content play. it would be fun. It would be interesting to see how that plays out. But in terms of winning percentage, it's considerably lower than this positioning.
Yeah, for sure. I do see one bingo here for Evan. I don't know if he has multiples. He definitely has over fear through the E. I guess Favorer would play as well.
Yeah, and Favor is a little bit more. It actually scores exactly the same amount as Seth just scored. It does score 78. He has to decide if that's worth doing, slotting that R in the triple line in the 7th position. That does feel a little bit reckless, a little bit dangerous for 9 extra points. I'd honestly be waffling on this a little bit. Feels very close between Favorer and Over Fear.
I don't know. I think I would take the points here. I mean, Seth just drew 7 random tiles. He could have anything. I'm not really that worried about it.
We see Evan setting it up. It's
Yeah.
also it's a more straightforward word to know that it's good than over fear, which sounds like it could be made up. There's a lot of over words that are plausible but phony, and then there's a lot of over words that are ridiculous but good, and it's hard to keep them all straight sometimes. So
Yeah,
maybe
but
just
on the other end, though, like there are a lot of ER words that you feel like should be good that aren't good.
that
So,
is actually a good point.
Right.
I mean, there's probably dictionaries out there that don't include this word, so it just so happens the Scrabble dictionary does. I think a good play from Evan, equalizing the score, and we'll see how that triple line plays out.
Yeah, a good play by him. I like his decision to take the points here.
Looks like they're recounting the scores. Always a good trait to have. I personally recount all of my opponents' plays because I don't trust them. Unfortunately, my opponents don't extend the same courtesy to me. So if there's any errors at the end, it's always my own scores and not my opponents.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, I should be counting my opponent's scores, but I don't trust myself enough sometimes. So, yeah, I feel like, do I want to waste time counting their plays? I probably should, but I don't always do it.
Yeah, there's probably a game I've lost because I've gone over because I wasted time counting my opponent's plays. So maybe I'll learn my lesson. Anyway, we can confirm this is a tied game. It's back on Seth. He has to decide, does he want to use the R right now? Does he want to do something like rifting or firing? Or maybe do something like of on top of Favorer, on top of the RE of Favorer. Gives him a little bit of access to that triple with oft that maybe Evan wouldn't have, and also keeps decent letters for bingoing through the floaters of Panther.
I think personally I would play something like firing through the R. I don't think I'd be sure of rifting. If I was sure of it, I would probably play that. But I don't want to just leave that open. I mean, you're not really blocking it by playing OF on top and you're keeping 2 eyes, which isn't ideal.
Yeah. The nice thing about OF is it keeps ING, but the 2 eyes is definitely a downfall, whereas something like firing just kind of does a reset on your rack and scores decently. Rifting, a little bit of an improvement there if you're sure of the word. But again, ING words can be a little bit random, and something like rift doesn't feel like it would take an ING intuitively. So I would certainly be a little bit afraid to play that, especially on stream with the whole world watching, just playing phony 7s like it's nothing. So I might lean towards firing here, as you said, Annette.
Yeah, I think the only other problem also, if you do play OF, like, yeah, you're keeping ING, you might draw into ING bingos, but they don't really go anywhere, and you don't have good floaters for it either. So given that you already have an N on your rack and the P is not going to help you much, the A is tough to hit. So I like this decision here by Seth to play rifting.
Yeah, nice play. It does score very well, 36 points. Kind of goes into the bag for the second blank if you can get it. Meanwhile, Evan with a vowel-heavy set of letters, but Ediolate.
Yeah.
And I guess Aerolite was what he was hoping would stay open. Sadly, did not stay open. He could play it.
Have it through the other R, though.
Yep, he could do that. Looks like that's one short of the double, so really leaves himself open to S hooks. So
Yeah,
I would be interested in doing Etiolate starting at near the top of the board.
Yeah.
The downside of Etiolate is it does take a P.
Ooh. Looking over at Seth's rack, he just threw the P.
We'll see if he's aware of this hook. I think this is a somewhat famous hook. It's one of the more common 8s to 9s that you see played, and he has drawn the P, as you said. Luckily for Evan, Seth has the P, but has 3 O's to go with it. So not going to be bingoing in that spot. Just might play something like Pooh.
Yeah, so would you ever consider holding the P here and trying to fish for a bingo in that spot, or do you think it's just way too likely to get blocked? It's probably too likely to get blocked, right?
Yeah, the spot to the right of Etiolate could get hit. Also, maybe the triple letter score next to the top E of Etiolate could be played, and then your spot is blocked. Also, if I was looking to fish here, if I was Seth, I'd be wanting to play off OO, and doesn't feel like there's a good way to do it other than maybe NOO from the N of Panther, and that's just the leave isn't quite good enough to do something like that for only 7 points or whatever that scores.
I would agree with that. So do you just go ahead and play Pooh then? Probably.
Yeah, I think the leave is
more points or Poon, but I like the leave with the N a little bit more.
Yeah, this leave is very powerful, especially with the T and the R open of Favorer and Etiolate. Very likely to draw 8s after this. It looks like Evan might be holding. We'll see if Seth draws imminently. Looks like he is going for the tile big. So if he was on hold, it was released. Nicely spotted by Seth. Not always that plays like that don't always jump to mind immediately. You're not always looking for extensions like that.
For sure. It's always important to keep an eye out for hooks. I mean, sometimes you miss hooks that you know too, but for the high prop bingos, you got to know the hooks to them. They're so important.
And we are getting a little bit of advice in chat. Etiolate takes a D and an S. Petiolate does not take anything in this dictionary. So a little bit of extra defensive merit to petiolate in sort of limiting the amount of hooks that are available on the board. So it's hard to know whether either player actually knows those things for sure. I certainly don't. I don't know if I ever will. But assuming a player with perfect word knowledge, maybe they would take that into consideration.
I mean, I feel like knowing the hooks for petiolate is difficult because unless you've studied the nines specifically, like you're probably not going to have come across that. Like I've seen petiolate many times because it's a hook to an 8, but like I don't study my nines, so I wouldn't know that didn't take any hooks.
Right. Yeah, it feels a little bit random at that point. You might just play it in desperation at some later point in the game, but otherwise try to avoid phoning in that spot. So Evan with some duplicate O's, some duplicate D's, and a W, but he does have a really nice way to solve all of these problems at once. That would be endowed. He has it set up 43 points.
Yeah, great play.
You could make an argument for something like wood on top of Favorer, making drifting, which is actually a spot that I would not be looking at all. Keeps DIN versus just an O, so a little bit of an improvement from a leave perspective. But 43 points and doing a reset on your rack, that just feels really strong here.
Yeah, it's tough to pass on the points if you see that play. So another good rack here for Seth. Do you think he knows the hooks for petiolate, or do you think he maybe would be tempted to try it?
I think he would only try it here if that was his only spot, or if the plays there scored like 90 points. I think given the situation here where he does have a very reasonable bingo of revision for 74 through the eye of petiolate, there's no need to play hooks that you're not sure of.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised, unless Seth misses the 8s that he has available. I'd be very surprised to see petiolates come into play this turn.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I think for my own pleasure, I would like to see it get played just to see what happens.
Maybe for your own knowledge in the future. Although maybe being streamed at a tournament where there is some prize money on the line, $1,500 for first place in this tournament, maybe not the right place to just experiment with hooks you don't know. maybe you go back to Woogles after the day's games are done and try to figure it out there.
Yeah, it looks like he's writing stuff down, just seeing what the alphagrams look like and making sure he's not missing any bingos. That's what I usually do too. If I have a, fairly high prop rack, then I'm like, I just don't want to miss anything. So just take your time.
Yeah, something like a double-double through the O of Etiolate or a double-double through the A of Panther would be really nice here, a lot better than the bingos he actually has. He does have revision and aversion from the A of Panther. If he sees revision, that's certainly the play. If he doesn't see those, it becomes a lot more complicated for him because he could try petiolates. He could also try riftings, although I would be very surprised if that just intuitively does not feel like a word. But desperate players do weird things sometimes, so it could happen.
Definitely. I mean, I think if I was desperate, I'd be more likely to want to hook petiolate than to hook rifting. But I would assume that he's at least going to see aversion. I feel like that is the easier one to see over revision. But I mean, they're both common words, so I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to see both. He's probably just looking for something better.
Yeah, aversion has downsides, so if he only sees aversion, he'd really want to find something else. Revision doesn't really have too many downsides, so I feel like if he hasn't played it by now, he might not have seen it yet, but might have sort of an idea that there could be something there, which necessitates spending a little bit more time.
Yeah, we'll see what he ends up going with. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to bingo this turn, though.
Yeah, I would be going back to petiolate. If you know what a petiole is, and you sort of recognize it as part of a plant or an anatomical part or whatever it is, you would be maybe a little bit less likely to put an S on it because that word feels like the definition would be having a petiole or shaped like a petiole or something like that. So that I just using my minimal knowledge of definitions and the structure of words might lead me away from doing that. And then, this position gets a little bit more complicated if you don't see the bingos. I am a little bit worried that we haven't seen one come down yet.
Right. I mean, I know how strong Seth's bingo knowledge is, so I would be surprised if he hasn't seen one of his bingos yet. I feel like he's probably just looking for better.
Yeah, and I think there's no argument really to be made to passing up a bingo that you see, just because if you were to do that, that would involve playing off VO or something, and there's not a good you can't score 38 points playing VO anywhere on this board, so not really worth passing up any bingos that you do see. And we did get a note from our producer. Maybe viewers can catch it as Seth shuffles his letters. He does have very nicely painted fingernails for this tournament.
I saw that. I think that was because of a wedding that he went to or something like that. I could be wrong.
So he was forced to match the bridesmaid dresses.
Yeah.
Anyway, very stylish. And he does find a version that is considerably worse than revision for a few reasons. But he really just wanted something that didn't open up stuff like that, and he couldn't find it. So sadly, a little bit of a miss there for Seth, but he does find a bingo.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I feel like Seth is the kind of person who would be more likely to find some kind of obscure 8 there than like some normal word, and I'm kind of the same way.
Right, it'd be easier if you had like multiple C's and a V rather than just all those one pointers. I agree with you. The low prop stuff easier to find than the high prop stuff, paradoxically.
Yeah.
We see Evan going for blonde here, which I think is the right idea. It was mentioned in chat that he did hold the W for windowed, which could have had implications. We're not sure if he saw it or not. I think he didn't really have a play through this end that didn't involve the W that was worth making. So even if he did see it, he probably had to come to the conclusion that he does have to get rid of the W here for 42 points and just move on from the nice windowed spot.
Yeah, it's tough not to play that. And also getting a word that has a W in the second position or like a bingo that starts with a W, it's not that easy anyway. So even though it looks enticing as a hook, I mean, are you really going to get that much out of it?
Yeah, there's not like a 4-letter word with a W in the second position that's going to score a ton there. He did have AWOL for 40, but Blonde is more points and blocks the obvious triple. So it seems like he does have to address that spot. We're going back to Seth now. He has drawn the X to go with 2 U's. He is at a 12-point deficit right now, which really isn't that much. I would consider this basically an even game. He does have a nice X play for, looks like 46 points through the eye of Petiolate, but the leave is just putrid. It feels like you can play that, but you have to hold your nose while you're doing it.
Can you really do that though? Oh man, that's tough. I don't know if I could stomach it.
Yeah, it looks like
a lot of points.
Yeah, Helix 46. He is setting up Lux's, I guess, to the S of aversion.
That feels a little bit better.
Yeah, it is a 20-point sacrifice, but you aren't keeping 2 U's. 20 points is a lot. I mean, UU is bad, but it's maybe not 20 points bad, so it's hard to say.
It might be minus 20 in equity. I don't know.
We see Seth might be looking at holding on to the X here. That's not a bad idea. There are X spots on this board. I guess maybe they're not very hittable. If he could draw an I, he would have Nyx and Vi. So if he does play Hugh to the left of aversion, he does have 4 chances to draw an I to give himself a big X bomb. So there's a little bit of upside here. Oh, now he's setting up the name of his own app. He could also play this on top of Endowed if he wants to, just play Ulu. I don't think that's the right play, but it would be very fitting for Seth.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's any way he can like set up the X while playing off one of his U's. Don't immediately see any great ways to do that, but definitely something to consider.
Yeah, the nice thing about Hugh to the left of aversion is that it's not really setting up your X, but it just maintains the existing X spot that's on the board. So, and if he draws an I for Nyx, he can score 50 there next turn. So there's some upside there, but there's also upside in just scoring 46 points right on this turn and dealing with the 2 U's later.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something like just Lux down to the E in Favorer is okay too.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what he was setting up earlier rather than Lux's through the S of aversion. Lux there is looks like 27 points. It does get rid of one of your U's, but the leave still isn't great. EEHU just doesn't feel very nice. It feels like it can go south. Like an I draw, for example, into that leave would feel really damaging. Ooh, we see
with Hugh up there. Yeah, I like that. I mean, at least you're keeping the extra scoring next turn. If you play off your X, then you're still stuck with 2 U's, and you can't do a whole lot next turn. I feel like this is better for the future of your rack. Like it's going to be easier to maneuver the next turn.
And I do apologize. Colin's brain was setting in for me. I thought Hugh played to the left of aversion. That makes the Colin's only 2-letter words. So no longer listen to Charles for this. The duration of this commentary, just listen to Annette and pretend I'm not saying anything.
It's okay. We forgive you. We're just happy you're here.
So Evan is sitting with a decent blend of vowels and consonants. It does feel like there could be an 8, like maybe through the R of favorer or something like that, or through the S of aversion. It does feel like there might be something there. We do see that there is no bingo available for Evan on this turn. So he has to figure out something else. He could try to use drifting on this turn and just play on top of favorer, but there's so many, this board is so wide open. There's so many places to think about. It feels like a turn where with no clear-cut number 1 option, you'd have to spend some time thinking.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You definitely don't want to be missing some double through the O or a bingo, or like you said, there are so many spots to look at. So definitely a turn that I would take a while on to find a play that I would be happy with.
So something like load on top of favor is 28 points, doesn't keep a spectacular leave, but actually with these letters, they're kind of nice, but none of them are individually going to be considered a spectacular leave. At most, it's going to be a middling leave. But something like Load does score 28 points. If he does want to go a little bit more aggro, he could play a la Mode to the E of Favor, but that's with the Q and the Z out and the X. And actually the J and the K as well maybe shouldn't be so aggro.
I know it looks like he did go with Load, which is a nice find. I mean, those hooks can be a little tricky at times, so that was a good little find by him there. So let's see if Seth has any good X plays this turn.
Oh, he does. So drifting actually did change the calculus on this turn significantly in ways that I didn't anticipate. The LY to make driftingly for 54 points is available here if you can convince yourself that it's a word and if you're even thinking about the spot. So I would be a little bit surprised to see that come down. It'd be a very creative play from Seth, but maybe if he doesn't see any X plays that he likes, he would start thinking about other things he can do.
How can you be sure that is a word, though?
Right, at this score, he's down by 22. If he gives up a turn playing a phony, he's going to be down probably by around 50 or 60 for the next turn. That changes the game from just kind of playing normally, making the equity plays or the sound strategic plays to, oh no, now I need to bingo, and I've got the X, the U, and the Y stopping me from doing it. So even if he did see driftingly, even if he did notice the possibility, maybe not the right time to experiment with your knowledge of 10-letter words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like if you play that, that's the kind of word that your opponent is going to be like, you're probably not sure this is a word either, so I'm going to challenge.
Right, that definitely feels very challengeable from Evan's perspective. So I would be a little bit surprised for that to come down. So in the absence of something like driftingly, we see Seth going for Luxes. I think this might be a miss in that he did have unsexy for 40 points through that S.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better for sure. That's kind of a tough word to see, though. Like, I don't know if I would have spotted that over the board, but I also wouldn't have felt good about playing Luxus there.
Yeah, I would be, I guess, with the eyes in the bag kind of dwindling a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't be trying to keep the X for Nix, or keep the X for the eye draw for Nix. So I would be looking to play the X, but Lux just doesn't feel like it does enough. Then again, unsexy, hard word to find. Also another word that you might not be 100% sure on. It's a 6-letter word. Lots of players kind of neglect the 6s in their studies. So not surprised to see Luxes come down. We didn't talk much about Evan's rack, and now he's already made his play. Idiom looks very strong here.
Yeah, that was a really nice find. The first thing I saw there was MIDI, but then as soon as he set that up on his rack, I was like, oh yeah, that's much better.
So really nice play, 43 points. That maybe the downside of Luxes is it just opens you up to these unfortunate scenarios where your opponent has bad letters but can score 30 or 40 with very little effort. So maybe a little bit, Seth may be regretting that play a little bit, but he has drawn another power tile, this one being the Z, which should help him out here. He has a few options for it.
Yeah, he has a really good spot for it with the F on top of Panther making Fez. So I know he already had Yes set up on his rack, which looks very strong. He also has something like Nazify through the I see. No, wait, he doesn't have an F. Never mind.
That would be fun. Sadly unplayable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes, looks pretty solid to me.
And he actually can do something like ZEE under Favorer, making Fez. That also looks quite nice. That would be like 49 points. He does have he is grabbing Yes. He's maybe thinking about it. If he plays Oyez from the O of aversion, he does hold 2 A's to underlap, making Za for 1 million. Well, not literally 1 million points, but for a boatload of points. We'll see if he gets that crazy. He is down by 40, so maybe not the time to get crazy like that.
Yeah, I guess he has a couple of options. It just depends on which leave he wants to have. What are you leaning towards here?
Yeah, I think it's something like yes is very tempting just to keep maybe slightly more tolerable bingo letters. Ooh, something totally out of left field here. I think this is a setup to try to underlap on a future turn, but leaving a lot of points on the table. I feel like this can't really be right just because it doesn't score as much as his other options.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it. I just feel like the downside is if you hit a play underneath there, now you're giving back a triple lane. So, like, the point sacrifice on this turn might not be worth it for what you're giving up after you cash in your setup.
Right. Yeah. Even if, as you say, that even if the setup works, even if it stays in place and isn't disrupted, then you're giving back a triple for your opponent, and so it might be negated that way. Maybe the best case scenario would be Evan goes all out to block the spot under Zag for very few points and sort of sacrifices the turn that way. But we see Evan does have one of the remaining A's. So if he wants to play in that spot, he could do something like cat, a very appropriate word for this particular set of commentators, but also very nice in that it doesn't re-expose the triple line on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I know Seth would appreciate if cat was played because he's very much a cat person himself. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I don't mind a play like cat here, but also, do you need to take out that spot? It's not like he's trying to set up a big X play or anything like that. So, you're really only worried about the Y, maybe the M.
Yeah, that's a good point. It looks a little bit dangerous at first glance, but are there really a lot of like 50-point plays that could happen there, or even like 38-point plays or something like that? And as you say, the Ys and maybe the M and the B are what's most dangerous there, and that it's not really that dangerous. It feels worse than it is. So Evan could ignore that spot and just go for something like Augitic through the eye of Petiolate. Scoring 26 points, keeping the T. There's still a blank unseen, so he's probably eager to get his hands on it if he can. And it's just like that's a really nice equity play. It gets rid of all these clunky letters. He just has to kind of do some risk analysis on what Zag could actually mean for him.
Yeah, that's a tough word to find, though. Like, I didn't know that word. That is not one that I've studied. And I don't know if he has studied all the words yet. I would probably guess no, just given how he hasn't been in a game for that long, so I don't know how findable that really is.
Yeah, I think Evan has made a lot of progress studying the words, but he's not Mac Meller who, disappears for a year and a half and comes back knowing all the words. I think Evan's still in the process of learning the dictionary. Also, again, as you say, hasn't been playing that long, so hasn't picked up a lot of random words through osmosis. So something like Augitic, you could infer it from the word augite, which he's certainly studied, but you wouldn't be sure of it. And in that case, he would have to move on and, make something else. And we see, not sure, is he going to play tag under Zag? This feels like he shouldn't be giving this back. I feel like he should be doing cat instead if he wants to play here.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're going to play there, you got to use C, right? To block counterplays.
Yeah, because this does fall a little bit right into Seth's trap where maybe he's thinking, oh, if Evan blocks or uses that spot I created for myself, at least I get a triple response. And that is sort of exactly what's playing out here. Other than the fact that maybe Seth doesn't really have great plays on the bottom. He could do AE, AIY, That's 30 points. But maybe he's not necessarily going to play down there. I think maybe he has to. It's just the best spot on the board.
That spot now, because that is a bingo lane. You could fit a bingo there if you have an S.
Yeah, good point. If you have like a bingo's ending in ES, will play very nicely there. There are still 3 S's unseen plus a blank. Evan does have an S on his rack, just with not very good other letters. Again, the downside of tag is it's playing 3 of your best letters while keeping some bad ones. Seth looking to maybe play Amine or something similar on the bottom. Oh, it looks like he's going for something else entirely.
Wow, it's brave. I don't know if I'd have it in me to leave that open, but it's certainly going to work out for him this turn.
Yeah, he's sort of daring Evan to have a play and that on the bottom that's worth making, and we see Evan does not have a play on the bottom that's worth making. I guess he does. He does have a play down there. It just doesn't hit the triple. He could do something like CIG. That feels actually quite strong here to keep about as decently as he can expect to, and decisively end the scoring activity on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think you can leave that open. You also just don't really have any great plays elsewhere, so you might as well take the points there, take out that spot, and it's not like you're losing the game at this point. So, yeah, that seems like a pretty standard play.
We haven't been touching on the score too much lately. I think it's because the score's been so close where neither player really needs to make decisive action towards trying to get a bingo or towards blocking bingos. It feels like a very conventional game where it sort of, could go either way. It's been very tightly contested up to this point. We see with SIG, Evan takes about a 30-point lead. Seth has drawn 2 S's but has 3 E's to go with them, and Evan's drawn the blank. So I think things are heating up a little bit now as we get closer to the end.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out, because Evan's not really going to have any great plays, I don't think, next turn. So it'll take him a turn to clean up his rack, get that cue off there before he can even think about bingoing. Unless I miss
the board is actually, over the past couple turns, become kind of unfriendly towards bingos. You've got the floaters of Petiolate that you could hit. But if you're vowel heavy, you're not going to be looking to bingo through the I or the O. And then maybe the R of aversion is another spot to play an 8, but there's nowhere really to play 7-letter words. So bingoing sort of becomes a fraught concept where if you draw one, you might not be able to play it. We see Seth going for just SEE, that is 18 points, keeps decently enough, maybe hoping to hit a bingo through one of those lanes that I suggested, but not scoring a ton. I'm not sure if he could have improved on that too much, but maybe not as many points as he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty fine given his rack, and now he keeps being next turn for scoring. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that play is good.
Yeah, and I feel like it maybe indicates that he has 2 S's, but really at this point doesn't matter that much. There's not a lot of S hooks on this board, so he maybe doesn't care too much if Evan has him pegged for an S.
Yeah. Gosh, is there even anywhere for this cue to go?
It's going to require some creativity from Evan's perspective. He does have one standout cue play, and it's not where you would expect it.
Yeah, that's tough to see. I had to look at Quackle there to see what you were pointing at. But yeah, he could play something like Quags or just Quag next to drifting using the I there. That is definitely a tricky spot to see. I mean, I think I would probably keep back the S if I was Evan and I see that spot, but it does add an extra couple points. So it might be worth using, given that the S isn't really that valuable on this board.
Yeah, and the nice thing about playing the S there is you give yourself one more chance at drawing a vowel, because if he just plays off the QU, he's keeping CSTT blank and would really need a 2-vowel draw for that to go well. I guess if the I and the O of Petiolate stay open, maybe he could get away with just drawing 1 vowel, use the blank for a vowel, but he would really like to maximize his chances at drawing some vowels and hopefully hit a bingo through those floaters. And if he wants to hit the R of aversion, if that's his backup plan, he really needs to get rid of any extra consonants. This is actually, I think this is a pretty good idea, Annette. He's sort of going for bingos through the I and the O with the QU and the blank, which I think is a fair idea.
Sure, I don't mind this play at all. And even now next turn, he can play SUQ and Correttes, which is going to score more than, his other plays probably would if he doesn't hit a bingo.
Yeah, so nice idea. I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of I've drawn the Q, I must play it immediately. But if you do have the U and the S and the blank to go with the Q, I think it actually becomes a positive tile. Maybe not very positive, but it's certainly not the detriment that it usually is. So I think a very creative idea from Evan to not panic about the cue and just keep it and see how it develops. Meanwhile, Seth has a 7-letter word on his rack that doesn't play, but he does have an 8. This is kind of a critical term for him. He's running out of time, 3.5 minutes, with some weird stuff in the bag that he has to think about. We'll see.
Spotted it yet.
Yeah, his bingo is raisable through the L of Luxes, which he put out there a few turns ago. He might not even be seeing that spot as a possible bingo location.
Right. Yeah, he had BA in his hand. He looked to be playing that off somewhere. So I don't know. I feel like he's just not. Oh, interesting.
Yep. So it looks like he's setting up sort of a last ditch bingo spot here. A very plainly usable spot for 7-letter words. Downside is only scoring 6 points, drawing into a pool that doesn't look very friendly, and missing the bingo. So a little bit of a misstep there for Seth.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, did he really have to bingo to win this game?
Yeah, it's complicated from his POV because the J, K, and Q are all unseen, and it's like hard to figure out what's going to score what, where, who draws it when. And he was down by about 30 that turn. He might have felt like if he bingos, Evan's going to be playing power tiles for points, and so he needs the bingo rather than conventional outscoring. So I think I see his perspective there, but maybe doesn't work out very well for him. Certainly didn't work out all that well for him this turn. He did not draw the letters he was looking for a bingo, and if he looks at his tracking, he's going to see Evan has some really nice stuff.
Yeah, that pool is really scary looking from Seth's point of view. It's definitely not what you want to see when you're losing the game, so now you can't really worry about blocking, but you also don't have any great plays that scores a ton of points.
And we should go back. We didn't even talk about Evan's play of OK for 32. That was a really nice play to continue to create upside for the queue. Like there's a lot of letters he can draw out of the bag that would allow him to bingo. He did draw one of them, that being the E, and scoring very nicely with the K. So that was really a perfect play from Evan's POV. Even if Seth does bingo on this turn, which he's not, Evan's going to have enough scoring power with the Q that even if Evan doesn't bingo, he probably still pulls this out a lot of the time.
Yeah, that was a really nice play by Evan, and I like how quickly he played it too by recognizing that Seth is low on the clock, so he really wanted to put the pressure on. He definitely has bingos though on this turn, so unfortunately for Seth, it's going to not work in his favor.
Yeah, I think Seth would have had to hope that the U and the blank were unseen and that Evan was going to be forced to play Chi for 11. That might have been his only path to victory after something like J, but it is a path to victory if that indeed works out. We see Evan with 10 minutes on his clock. He doesn't need to find his bingos to win this game, but he does already see one, that being question. He does have a nice play that doubles the Q. We'll leave that up to chat to figure that out if he wants to score 100 points with a stylish out bingo. He had it set up and then moved it. I think
he found one of them. Yeah, Antiques does the same thing.
Yeah, nicely spotted by Evan, and I'm really pleased to see how he handled the Q in that situation. That was really a sign of his strategic depth as he approaches this game. So I think we can hear the players now. They might be doing a little bit of post-mortem.
2 plus 6, 12? 12, so 504 to 374?
Sorry, give
Yeah,
me a second.
you're good.
I'm slow.
It's okay.
12, 504, so 374.
Yeah, this was a significantly closer game than that final score suggests.
Yeah, I just don't think I played good Scrabble. I
Oh.
think I just didn't have any plan.
Okay.
And I don't know. Yeah, here I kept. I was going for Knicks.
I figured that was that was such a big threat. I just really didn't have a way to address it efficiently. Yeah.
It's okay, and I was one off Annex
Yeah.
on a later turn, but I don't.
I mean,
So on. Oh my God, which turn? Oh, on the tag turn, you had an A. I almost played Oyez with 2 A's in hand.
Oh wow.
Being like, if you have an A, great.
Yeah.
If I have an A, like, huge difference.
I mean, my rack
And
wasn't great surrounding it. I kept CITU, and it was either this cat or I think Gutta is good. GUTTA.
Sure.
I just was only like
but you just play act there, and
I would have.
that's too many.
I'll probably like tag underneath
Or
to unduplicate the teeth. Yeah.
tag.
Get rid of the G. Yeah.
It's too many points.
Yeah, and then
Here, I actually didn't have a lot.
Huh.
Meanie, MEANIE, without the S. Is that,
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, I could have done that on this turn. Got rid of more vowels.
Yeah.
It took way too long to find this because you blocked a bunch of, you blocked things.
With a teal.
You
Yeah.
blocked
with-
investor.
Oh right. Yeah. When
and there was so many spots in overspin.
Yeah.
Blocked with a D, and
Yeah.
I
It's.
got the feeling of doom, and then I was like, I was like, no, I really have to keep looking, and it took me forever to notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but you kept hitting the big scoring.
It feels like I was just able to stay in control because I just had star plays. I mean, as soon as you didn't challenge us, I was so like, I was like, is it only over far? Like, and I just wasn't 100%.
That's good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, an over fear is also good. So,
I like it.
I mean,
Yeah, it's good.
okay, yeah, no, I just had those on-stream jitters. Like, am I gonna screw up? Like, if I sack like 10 to play over fear, like, is people gonna judge me if I chicken out? So, it's good.
And then on this turn, I have no idea what to do. I'm holding airbase,
Oh my god, yeah.
and you almost well, it wasn't that close, but
Yeah.
it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, you know what I need to do is I don't think I'm going to win on points.
So
I need to
bingo.
improve my bingo odds.
Yeah.
And so I opened a lane, although it would have been nicer to have it one higher. I almost played ball, but this I wanted to unduplicate the I.
Yeah. So
And I needed you to have the Q and not the blank.
no. So what happened was Sig ended up keeping CSTU, and I drew blank QT. So this kept NQ, or sorry, that kept QSTU blank. Then I draw NK. It's like, okay, well, I'll just play off the K. I mean, now that there's 2 lines, I'm extremely likely, and even if I don't hit, like, just any play with the Q is going to do well enough. I happen to draw into 100 points.
If I put an S on that, what do you think?
I'm challenging the S. I don't think I'm challenging the D.
Correct. That's.
All right, cool.
I don't know if that's. I think that's correct, but that's what I would.
I
also do.
definitely
Oh, no D.
no D. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that. Etiolated, but not petiolated.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, I would have played a D.
Yeah, I would.
Without hesitation. Not from confidence, but from ignorance. That just seems like it should.
Yeah, I
be
mean,
good.
I knew petiolate was like 99% an adjective, so Essex going off. But I mean, yeah, and I had the bunch of D's, but I mean, obviously this seems right. 43.
That's great.
And this kept.
You also took out. Took out Renoir.
Yeah.
You got 3 bingos with that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, solid. And then the load kept AMI. So I think.
It's Primus Revision.
Oh, right.
Primus Revision.
Oh,
Well, it's a better play.
it's probably better because it gives back a bit less. I mean, I still would have been able to score like 30 odd points here.
Yeah,
but-
it's Revision. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. It seemed like you were a little bit jittery.
R-I-S-I-O-N. Well, I don't want to play it there. I could play it over here. R-U-D-I-S-I-O-N. Yeah, I was very jittery. Partly it's like I can't write the way that I
Oh,
like.
yeah?
And that's a stupid excuse, but
Mhm.
I also didn't know what to do with 2 U's here. So I kept
Yeah, that was.
Lux. I kept L-U-X-E on this.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Just I didn't know how else to get. I could have played Lexus on that turn.
But I don't think that's right. I think you're better off saving the X in that position just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you're one tile away from a bunch of stuff.
So I could have played me there. That's 24.
Yeah.
No, 20. Sorry, one. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 27. It's 30, and this was 30.
You want to
But the
confirm?
leaves a little better. Yeah, 504, 374,
Mhm.
3, and there you go. You broke your streak as I predicted.
A 2-game streak. Yeah. All right.
I didn't have to think about what to do with this
Yeah.
because my hope was you had to play QI somewhere, and I draw a blank and go out. I'd probably win that game.
Yeah, but like, you'd also have to be like drawing the second U as well in order for that, right? Like, I'd also have to like not have the U because then
Well, if you did, if you had.
All right, that postmortem, very informative. They went through basically every play, and they're still going. But we're flagging from fatigue here, so we're going to wrap this one up pretty soon. And those were 3 great games. Really glad to have seen all of them.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast, and I'm excited to do it again tomorrow.
Indeed, the fun doesn't stop here. We're wrapping up the first 3 games of Lake George. But there's a lot more Scrabble to come. This is a 15-game tournament. Plus, a lot of you were watching the Matthew versus Matthew matchup earlier today, so you got even more games of Scrabble. Tomorrow, we'll be doing a combination of Collins and WoW, so people out there who were looking forward to watching some Collins games, you'll be able to see those tomorrow, I believe, starting at 8:15. Somebody correct me in chat if I'm wrong. You'll be hearing from Matt Kanik and Jason Adolsky. And then in the afternoon, you will be hearing from Matt Kanik and the person that I'm doing commentary with right now, Annette Overstead. And so with that, we want to make sure that everybody is doing everything necessary to make sure that Let's Play Scrabble continues to be successful. It's a little bit late to be liking this video. You can do it if you want, but I think since we're wrapping up, it doesn't matter too much. But definitely subscribe to the Let's Play Scrabble YouTube channel. Also consider hitting that join button, contributing some of your own monetary resources to the success of live stream Scrabble. I think that is a very noble thing, considerably more noble than most things that you could do with money these days. So go ahead and do that. And I think we also maybe want to give some thanks to everybody who's made the stream possible up to this point.
For sure. I mean, thanks to everybody who puts this on and does this on a regular basis. It really means a lot, and it's such a great way for us to grow the community as a whole. So, yeah, I'm just really excited that we get to have this.
Yeah, it's been great. It's big thanks especially to Josh Greenway, who's the master behind the scenes doing it all. Also, Josh Koff stepping in as sort of an assistant producer role for the first time, easing the burden on the other Josh a little bit. That can only be helpful. He is doing so much for the community. So with that, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks, Annette, for joining me for these 3 games. It was fantastic. I hope that the rest of the stream goes just as well as these 3 games did. You said you had a curse when it came to commentating blowouts. Well, I think we broke the curse, so hopefully that continues.
Yep, fingers crossed. I'm excited to see what the rest of the tournament is going to be like. So thank you to all of you for watching.
Yep, you're on Let's Play Scrabble. Come back here tomorrow morning, and you'll see a lot more Scrabble still to come.
Yep.